Now, it was only a matter of time before I did this rebuild. I have been seeing all the comments asking for a Montreal Canadiens rebuild, but I didn't just want to do a 5-year rebuild with them. I didn't want to just do 10, 25 years with the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to be rebuilding this team until 2050. Obviously, these are not the lines we're going to run. I have no clue what our coach is cooking up here, but these are not the moves. However, this team is showing a ton of promise. The first line looks great. Demidov's looking fantastic so far. I miss Zachary Bolduc so incredibly much, and I'm not happy with Logan Mailloux so far, but I'm going to give him a bit more time to develop. And when I say a bit more time, Buddy better show up in the next 10 games. If he continues to look the way he does right now over the course of the next 10 games, then I am fully giving up on him. We lost that trade in a landslide. Still haven't really figured out why we gave up Zachary Bolduc of all players. Like, we had a handful of good young guys in the system. I would have much rather traded one of them over Zachary Bolduc, but that is neither here nor there. I am taking over as GM for the Montreal Canadiens for the next 25 years, and I'm going to turn this team into an absolute dynasty. However, in year number 1, we're likely not going to do too much. I might make 1 or 2 trades, but year number 1 is going to be very similar to what the Montreal Canadiens look like right now. So here's what I'm thinking for trade number 1. I know I just said I wasn't going to do that much. I lied. When it comes to stick on the ice videos, we're always making big moves, and we're always doing things that aren't realistic. So Reinbacher and Alex Newhook are both going to be sent over to the Buffalo Sabres. Tage Thompson, welcome to the team. I feel like this is a no-brainer for us. Reinbacher, we already have a ton of great defensemen on the team. We don't really need you anymore. I mean, granted, the right side could use a little bit of work, so I really want to give up on Reinbacher this fast. To be fair, I am yet to see Reinbacher really develop in NHL 26, so I'm actually perfectly fine with trading him away here. He doesn't really develop well. Reinbacher and Newhook for Tage Thompson is not going to be enough, but we have draft picks to work with. And one of those draft picks is a second-round pick from the Columbus Blue Jackets that has a decent amount of value. Is that enough for Tage Thompson? They're going to be rejecting it. I'll throw in a second round pick for 2027. I feel like all of this right here should be enough for Tage Thompson, and it looks like it will be. So the offense is getting a huge upgrade. I think all we have to do now is bring in a right defenseman, but maybe we don't have to do that quite yet. What we do have to do is give Zachary Bolduc an extension, and of course we have to keep him on this team. $2.5 million. Let's do multiple years. 2.5 for the next 2. Zachary Bolduc, welcome back. And then when it comes to Patrik Laine, barring what he's looking for, we might be able to do this. And 6.4 is not terrible for Laine. He's going to play second line minutes. Him, Demidov, and Tage Thompson are going to be an elite line. Actually, we're going to do significantly less than I thought. $5.7 million for the next 4 years. That's an amazing deal. And then Michael Matheson, there's a very good chance we just write out your contract. So after just one trade, this is what the top 6 looks like. And I want the top 6 to look like this for a majority of the video. I shouldn't say that though. It's a 25-year rebuild. A lot of these guys are going to be gone over the next 10 seasons. But for these next couple years, the Montreal Canadiens forward core is going to be absolutely dominating. We have so many great pieces here. We're going to score a lot of goals. So without further ado, let's finally dive into season number 1. Before we dive into it though, if you think the Montreal Canadiens absolutely fleeced the St. Louis Blues in the Zachary Bolduc deal, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And trust me, they fleeced the St. Louis Blues. It's going to take me a long time to get over that deal. Alright, so maybe we're not going to be bringing Patrik Laine back to the team. He's not going to be accepting the contract offers. Zachary Bolduc will be. So I guess we'll circle back around the trade deadline to see what he's thinking. Now, I'm not too worried about re-signing Patrik Laine because if we're not able to re-sign him, that's perfectly fine. We need him for the cup run. First in the entire league, a 43-12-6 record. The Montreal Canadiens are currently the best team in the entire league. From top to bottom, we look absolutely fantastic. I can't make any changes. I have to keep this team the exact same way. We're not doing anything major here. If I'm going to make one trade, it's for the bottom 6, but I'm not even too sure if I want to make a change to our bottom 6 with how elite we're looking. I mean, don't get me wrong, a Michael Matheson trade right now actually would make a little bit of sense. Like, we trade him, get a better defenseman for the right side, then we have 2 elite pairings. I'm going to go see what's out there. Michael Matheson, I low-key just want to ride out your contract as we go for a Stanley Cup, but preparing for the future might make a little bit more sense than riding out your contract, especially considering how much trade value you have. Okay, I'm going to look a little bit crazy doing this deal, but Michael Matheson for 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. There is method in the madness here. I do have a plan on what we're going to do. Michael Matheson for 2 first-round picks. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Perfect. We're now going to circle over to the Calgary Flames. We're bringing in Rasmus Andersson. He's a little bit younger. He fits the timeline. We need another right defenseman. I think this is going to be a great trade. 2 first-round picks are going to be given up. That's not quite enough. I'll throw in another first. So here's Carolina's first-round pick for next season. offseason. So 3 first-round picks from Rasmus Andersson. Welcome to the team. Now, the only thing we have to worry about is extending you, but I think we'll be able to do that. I also love how much of a hypocrite I've been so far in this video. Like, we are not that deep into the video. I said at the very beginning, I'm not going to make a big trade to start this video off. We're going to run basically the exact same team. Proceeded to immediately trade for Tage Thompson. And then at the trade deadline, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to mess anything up. Immediately trades Michael Matheson away, one of our key defensemen, and brings in Rasmus Andersson. I'm just straight up yapping so far. So Rasmus Andersson, right now you're not looking to sign an extension, but I feel like we still should be able to get something done. You want $9.3 million. We'll have to wait until the offseason for me to have enough money. Once the salary cap goes up, I'll be able to give you enough money to stay on this team. But more than likely, that means we're going to be losing Patrik Laine. But that's not the end of the world. Zachary Bolduc can take his place. Now, the Montreal Canadiens dominated to finish out the season. First, with a 60-16-6 record. They were dominating. The best offense with the best defense. Nick Suzuki, 107 points. Cole Caulfield, 98. Tage Thompson's picking up 91. Slafkovsky, 80. Demidov, 75. Patrik Laine, 64. No weaknesses. 0 weaknesses whatsoever on this team. Montebolt's looking absolutely fantastic right now. There is nothing that can stop us except for ourselves. Montreal, do not fold. Like, we are early enough in this video that we are setting the standard right now. We are setting the standard for this Montreal Canadiens team moving forward. They dropped the first 2 games, only scoring 2 goals over those 2 games. There is no way y'all are doing this to me. We're winning game number 3 and we're responding in game 4, but there is no way y'all scored 2 goals in the first 2 games. I told y'all I wanted you to set the standard, and what'd you do? 2 goals in 2 games. Luckily, we fought back against the Islanders, but now we're off to game 7. There is just no way, after winning 60 games in year 1, we're about to fall in the first round. We allowed 3 goals in the first period. Moving into the second, it's a scoreless one. We need to make a big comeback in the third period, and Cole Caulfield's going to be doing that. He's picking up the goal. We've tied this game up. We're off to overtime, and in overtime, Tage Thompson's potting the winner, and we're off to the second round. But this was way too close. Like, there's no reason this series should have been that close. We're moving on to the second round. We get to match up against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I am terrified of any team moving forward based on how Montreal performed in the first round, and I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are about to sweep us. We're going to find a way to avoid this sweep, but what is wrong with this Montreal Canadiens team? They are just folding in the most spectacular fashion. We've won 2 games in a row now. Can we make that 3 wins in a row? It doesn't look like it. We're falling in the second round. This was a disaster. Let's be completely honest. The Islanders put way too much pressure on us in round number 1. The Toronto Maple Leafs dominated the first 3 games. We should have been better than this. And this just makes things significantly worse. The Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup champions, that should have been the Montreal Canadiens, and we all know it. When it comes to the postseason scoring, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Noah Dobson, y'all did your thing. But what happened to Tage Thompson when the lights were the brightest? 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. That is not the Tage Thompson I know from the regular season. Zachary Bolduc only 5 points, Lane Hutson 9 points, Demidov 7 points. The second line collapsed on us. Granted, everything kind of collapsed on us. Offense wasn't good, defense wasn't good. Everything this team was known for during the regular season, we didn't see any of that in the playoffs. So year number 1 is going to be a first round exit, but I mean, we might as well take a look and see if anyone won awards for our team. I have a feeling the only award we're going to be looking at besides Demidov winning the Calder is maybe the Vezina, and that's going to be going to Montebolt. He's also going to be taking home the William Jennings, and those are likely going to be the only awards that we're going to be taking home this season. But 3 awards, 1 for Demidov and 2 for Monty. It's a decent enough start, but it's not a Stanley Cup. Also, I guess it wouldn't hurt if we double check with Rasmus Andersson. Is he willing to accept a bit of a cheaper contract now? It looks like it. He's looking for 8.4 for the next 5 years. We can get this done. And we can probably get this done at 7.5 million if I'm being honest. Like, I'll do 7.5 million and then a modified no trade. We'll get that up to 50% team protection. Hopefully he's going to be willing to accept that. If not, we're likely just going to do something similar but a bit more money. Now, Rasmus Andersson is going to be accepting, but that begs the question. Patrik Laine, what are you looking for? Because there is a chance we can still bring Patrik Laine back to the team. He wants 7.5 and we now have $10.2 million. Hear me out with this Patrik Laine deal. I might be onto something. We do 6.5, basically the exact same thing we did with Rasmus Andersson. Here's a modified no trade. I think we can get this down to $6 million. I mean, $6 million might be pushing it. How about we do 6.3 for the next 5? If we can somehow get that deal done, we're going to be in an amazing spot. Granted, we still have to find money for Demidov because he's going to need an extension pretty quick. We'll worry about that later. Now, based on how many draft picks we have and what the prospects are looking like for year number 1, we're not going to be getting anything amazing. passing, and I think this is likely going to be our best player. Low top 6 potential, a 64 overall playmaker. The year 1 and year 2 draft usually suck outside of like the top 10 prospects. You rarely find any elite auto-generated players late in the draft. If I do find one though, I'll let you know. However, considering this is what we're looking at right now, yeah, we're not going to get anything spectacular. Now we're left with $4.7 million to fill out the rest of our team, but that really shouldn't be too difficult. Kirby Doc, I think you're likely going to be leaving. $3.1 million, I'm not going to do that. Joe Veleno, I'm hoping we could do like 1.5. 1.8 is not terrible, but how about we do 1.75 just to save a little bit of money. Josh Waugh, I think it's time for you to jump to the lineup. 1.2 for the next 2 years. How about we do 1.1 for the next 2? So Joe Veleno is going to be accepting. Josh Waugh is going to be rejecting because he's greedy. Like, fine, here's 1.2 million. I guess you won't accept without that extra 100K. I'll give it to you then. Now with everyone else, we're probably just going to be signing these guys to two-way contracts. Now Demidov, I was thinking your extension was going to be really difficult. It will no longer be difficult because Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher's contracts are about to end. That means we can just throw all that money at Demidov. How much is he looking for? Okay, you got to cut me a break here. What are we doing, Demidov? 12.1 million. I'm going to give it to you, but I just want you to know you're still playing second line minutes. So here's 11.5. It's a little greedy, but you know what? That's fine. I guess we also have to give Montebolt an extension. How much does he want? This can definitely happen. So Monty, how about we do $5 million for the next 6 seasons? Between you and Demidov, that's going to be 90% of our money, but at least we're using our money on elite players. Now we're only going to make one free agent signing, and that signing is going to be Charlie Coyle. I'll give him 3.5 for 1 season. He's going to join the team to play some bottom 6 minutes, and that's it. That is all the moves we're making. Now last season, we saw what the Montreal Canadiens are capable of. We know what this top 6 is capable of. I just need them to take the next step this season. Basically, all of our main guys are locked down for the next 5 years at the very minimum. So we're going to be dominating over the next 5 years. But once those 5 years are up, we're going to have to do a mini retool. But I'm assuming by then, we're going to be looking at least 3 cups. So over the next 5 years, it's the Montreal Canadiens' time to shine. I'm just going to need them to show up when the lights are the brightest. Now, Montreal's not going to be looking quite as hot this season. 3rd in the entire league, a 39-18-5 record. We're still one of the top teams in the league, don't get me wrong, but we're just not in that number 1 spot right now. The offense is still the best in the entire league at 3.92. However, our defense definitely needs to be looked at because we're allowing 3 goals per game right now, and that is certainly not one of the best in the entire league. We're probably in the middle of the pack right now, so we have to make some adjustments. Tage Thompson right now, though, he's dominating. 83 points. Nick Suzuki, 76. Cole Caulfield, 75. The top players on this team are showing up like usual. No question about them. We knew this was going to happen. And then when it comes to goaltending, Monty's still doing his thing. 34 wins, 2 shots, a 907 and a 292. I think we have to make a couple changes to the bottom 6. The top 6 is what it is, and our defense is what it is. However, when it comes to our 4th line, I don't really want to be rocking Brendan Gallagher right now. Granted, Brendan Gallagher is an 84 overall right now, 34 years old. He does have a positive plus minus, 13 goals, 14 assists. I think we'll actually hold on to him for the role he's playing. So in reality, do we actually make any changes? Like, I think the team's looking good enough right now. We have all the key pieces locked down. I think we just stick with what we have. So we're not going to make any crazy changes. The Montreal Canadiens are just going to be staying the exact same. And you know what? The exact same for the Montreal Canadiens might be for the best. Like, we're 3rd in the entire league right now. It's not like we're looking bad. So to finish out the season, the Montreal Canadiens are going to finish 3rd. But I do want to point out they're now the best team in the Atlantic Division. They're ahead of Tampa Bay and they're ahead of Florida. At the trade deadline, they weren't the best team. Offensively, we're still looking really good. 3.8 goals per game. When it comes to our defense, though, that's certainly improved. Only allowing 2.93. 240 goals on the season. I can actually live with that. Tage Thompson, 107 points. He's dominating like usual. 64 goals. This guy has been an absolute beast so far. 25 power play goals. It doesn't make sense. Nick Suzuki, 88 points. Cole Caulfield, 86. Slafkovsky, 78. Offensively, we are absolutely rolling right now. And when it comes to goaltending, Monty's not looking too bad either. 43 wins, 3 shots, a 911 and a 282. As long as this continues into the postseason, we could be looking at a Stanley Cup this season. But we can't take any team lightly. We saw what the Islanders did to us last season. I know for a fact Detroit's going to be putting up a fight. Now, Montreal, you guys need to lock in here. Detroit is going to put up a good fight, but maybe not. We're scoring 7 goals in game number 1, 5 5 goals in game number 2. We have a 2-0 series lead. Can we make that a 3-0 series lead? It looks like it with a shutout in game 4, but Detroit's woken up. They're scoring 8 goals in game 4. We should have closed it out there. Hopefully Detroit's not going to have any momentum, and it doesn't look like they will. We're taking them down 5 games and moving on to the second round. But the second round is going to be incredibly difficult. We either have Florida or we're going to have Tampa, and it looks like we're going to get the Florida Panthers. I really don't know which team I'd rather have taken on. Both of them are going to put up a great fight, and both of them are great teams. But Florida's stealing game 1. What are they going to do in game number 2? They're beating us as well. Are we going to win any games? No, we are not. We are just going to get swept by Florida. I mean, at the end of the day, Florida's a pretty elite team. If we're looking at their roster, this really shouldn't surprise me that much. Okay, this is the second year in a row we've lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions in the second round. This better not become a trend. Like, seriously, back-to-back years where we've lost to Atlantic Division teams in the second round and they go on to win the Stanley Cup. The plus-minus numbers are not a good sign for what this team did. I don't really need to look at scoring. The plus-minus numbers and Monty's numbers, yeah, that sums up our postseason. Granted, the reason those numbers look so terrible is what happened in the second round. Like, in the first round, we looked great. In the second round, though, everything that could have went wrong. Also, I don't think we're going to be taking home any awards this season. That's a tough one. Also, Dave Pastrnak won the Rocket Richard. Tage Thompson had like 64 goals. How many did you have? Like, if Tage Thompson's scoring 64 goals and that wasn't enough, what Pass to do this season? He's picking up 66 goals. Gotta give respect where respect is due. He was locked in this season with Boston. Now, similar to the last draft, I don't think we're going to be drafting a ton of superstar players, but we are going to be drafting Sundqvist. But boy, does this guy suck. He played 52 games and scored 0 goals. As a sniper, he's a sniper that doesn't score goals. I can't think of a more useless player. Now, you know what? Maybe I misspoke earlier. We are going to be getting some elite players. A low elite potential player in the third round. If he's starting as a 52 overall, we all know about the low elite potential players and how many I'm going to be drafting today. If I draft less than 30 low elite potential players, then something must have went wrong. So moving into the re-sign phase, we have $14 million to work with. Josh Anderson, you're leaving. Carrier, you're leaving. Charlie Coyle, you're leaving. Gallagher, you're leaving. Just about every one of these players are going to be leaving. Struble, maybe I can keep you on the team, but I don't really want to do $2.6 million. I feel like that's a little bit too much. I'll qualify you as an RFA because 1.4 isn't terrible. And then when it comes to basically everyone else, we're looking at two-way contracts. Now, when it comes to the next handful of years, we're not going to have to spend too much money when it comes to extensions. We have all the big-time players locked down. Zachary Bolduc, you're going to be the next guy I want to lock down, though. Your extension is going to be 2.8 for the next 3 years, an absolute steal. Joe Valeno, you're currently not interested in extending with the team, but what are you looking for? 2.6 with a no movement. I am not giving you a no movement. Why would I do that? However, I will do 2.4 for 1 season. You can play fourth line minutes for me. And then Josh Waugh, you're another great guy for the fourth line. How much are you looking for? 1.3. How about we do 2 years at 1.8? So Josh Waugh is going to be returning to the team. He's going to play some big minutes. And with all the cap space we have, let's go sign some great players for the bottom 6. Now I'm looking to bring in some cheap players for the bottom 6 in our third pairing defense. And I think Luce Durain would be a great player. 1.95 million for the next 2 years. That's a steal. I also wouldn't be against dropping a bag on one really good player. However, I kind of want to bring in guys for multiple years. With that being said, though, it does have to be the right player. Chisholm actually wouldn't be that bad. We could do 2.6 for the next 3 seasons. He could play some really good third pairing minutes for me, so I think that's what we're going to do. 2.6 to the next 3. And then who's going to be his defensive partner? Well, how about we go with Lilleberg, $2 million for the next 2. Now, like, I really passed over Nick Perbix. You can tell it's a different NHL game if I'm passing up on Nick Perbix. Morgan Barron, I'll also bring you in for our bottom 6. Here's 1.6 million for the next 2 years. And then with all the spare money we have right now, who do we want to throw an absolute bag at for 1 season? Well, how about I throw a ton of money at Mark Stone? He's looking for 2 years, but what if I did 1 year with a no movement? I'll do 1 year, $8.5 million with a no movement. Hopefully that's going to be enough to convince him to join the team. We'll have to wait and see. So it looks like Mark Stone's going to be accepting the contract we offered him. He's going to be playing some third line minutes for us this season. I don't know who's going to be able to stop Montreal now. Now, majority of the Montreal Canadiens team is going to be looking the exact same. That's not really much of a surprise. We knew this was going to be the case. Mark Stone is going to be joined to play some third line minutes for us. He's definitely going to be improving the bottom 6. The defense looks almost identical, while goaltending, it's the exact same as last season. There's really not going to be that many changes happening over the next few years. We have all the important pieces locked up, and I'm not turning my back on any of these guys. Okay, I think we're starting to trend in the wrong direction. Year number 1, we were first in the entire league at the trade deadline. In year number 2, we were third in the entire league at the trade deadline. Now in year 3, we're fifth in the entire league at the trade deadline. We're scoring 4.08 goals per game, allowing 3. What has happened to this team? We started off incredible, and we've slowly gone downhill since then. I'm not really too sure why. Offensively, we look amazing here, but defensively, we clearly need a bit of help. I mean, Dobish is playing amazing, don't get me wrong, a 922 and a 233, but when it comes to our starting goaltender in Montebold, 30 wins, 2 shots, a 903 and a 302, I need your numbers to be better than that. So with that being said, maybe we make a trade here, maybe we don't. I'll see what's out there. Now I've spent a couple minutes here just going through all the players available and players who are on the trade block, and nothing has jumped out to me. There's no players that have jumped out to me that are actually going to be beneficial for our bottom six. So I don't think we're going to make any moves here. We're just going to stick with the team we have once again and pray that we don't lose in the second round, and the team we lose to in the second round goes on to win the Stanley Cup. Now to finish out the season, Montreal certainly stepped it up. A 53, 23, and 6 record, 3.98 goals per game, 2.84. 2.84 is actually significantly better than what it was at the trade deadline, so that means we've been playing some lockdown defense ever since. Suzuki 107 points, Tage Thompson 97 points, Slafkovsky 79, Demidov 79, Cole Caulfield 77. We are scoring goals like crazy, but we've always been doing that. And then Monty 40 wins, 3 shots, a 909 and 284. It's time to step up in the postseason. Now this team has faltered twice now. It won't happen 3 times in a row. Now, from past experience, we know it's going to happen. We are going to get past the Boston Bruins. I'm not too worried about the Boston Bruins. I am terrified of our second round matchup, because our second round matchup is where everything's going to go wrong. We're exchanging the first 2 games. We're moving on to game number 3, and what's going to happen in that one? We're going to win 5-1. Let's take the lead in game number 4. Of course, we're not going to do that. So Boston's tied the series up. Game 5 is going to be the most important game, and we're going to shut them out. Win one more game. I don't want to go to game 7. Let's win game 6 and move on. Okay, what are we doing? 10 goals allowed. Yeah, we're cooked in game 7, I'm sorry. No team allows 10 goals in game number 6 and then proceeds to win game 7. They have zero momentum whatsoever. We're exchanging goals in the first period. It's going to be a scoreless second period. Who's going to find the back of the net when it matters most? Well, it looks like it's going to be both teams, because each team's going to be picking up 2 goals, so overtime's going to sell this one. It's time for Tage Thompson to step up once again, but it's not going to be Tage Thompson. Instead, Cole Caulfield stepping up in overtime this time. So we're somehow getting past the Boston Bruins. Truthfully, this probably shouldn't have happened. We're moving on to the second round, and who do we get to take on? It's either going to be the Florida Panthers or the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I am terrified of both teams. Well, it looks like it's going to be Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay took down Florida, so even though they don't have the greatest record in the world, they beat the Florida Panthers, so this team is going to be very competitive. We have shut them out in 2 straight games. We proceeded to lose 2 straight games after that. Of course that would happen. Why wouldn't that happen? And now we're going to lose 4 games in a row and lose in the second round once again for the 3rd year in a row. I guess I'm wrong about absolutely everything. Lose in game 7 then. If I'm wrong about absolutely everything, we're going to lose in game 7. Let's see what happens. Tampa's picking up the first goal. They're picking up the second goal. They're probably winning the 3rd period. Okay, we made a comeback in this one. We scored 3 straight goals in the 3rd period. Then we allowed 4 straight goals, and then Slafkovsky scored with 20 seconds left. We're losing 6-4, and that's the moral of the story. I guess I'm wrong about absolutely nothing, and for the 3rd year in a row, we're losing in the second round, but are we losing to the eventual Cup champs? There is no way. There is absolutely no way. The Tampa Bay Lightning are Stanley Cup champions. There is no way we have lost to the eventual Cup champs 3 years in a row now. You can't make this up. There is no way that this is actually happening. We somehow just keep matching up against the eventual champs in the second round. It is beyond ridiculous now. Patrick Laine, I'm not going to lie, I'm looking at trading you away. You're just not stepping up in the postseason. When the lights are the brightest, you haven't been that guy for me. Monty, 7 wins, 3 shots, a 911 and 287. You were incredible. The offense just wasn't there for you. Alright, so here's the trade I'm looking at making. Patrick Laine and 2 second-round picks, one of them being the 57th overall, over to the Carolina Hurricanes so we can bring in Svechnikov. He can play on the second line alongside Demidov and Tage Thompson. If that's not an elite second line, I don't know what is. They're going to be rejecting that trade. Honestly, it's not the end of the world. I can just give you our first-round pick. I'll give you the 25th overall and the 57th overall. Is this enough for Svechnikov? They're going to be saying no. How about we do a 3-team trade and make this a lot easier on ourselves? So here's what I'm thinking. Patrick Laine straight up for Kevin Korchinski. Can we go 1 for 1? They're going to be rejecting that. Honestly, I'm not really too surprised they're going to be rejecting that. But if I throw in the 57th overall as well, I think that's a pretty fair deal. They're going to be rejecting it. I'll give you a future 3rd rounder. So with all of this thrown in the deal, is that going to be enough for Kevin Korchinski? It looks like it is. Now we'll go over to the Carolina Hurricanes and get the real deal done. Because I think Kevin Korchinski, along with a first round pick, should be enough for Svechnikov. I'm going to offer this package over. What's Carolina going to be saying? They're going to be accepting it immediately. That's a big time upgrade to our second line. Now it's probably a good thing that we trade some of our picks away, because when it comes to the draft, it was just miss after miss. So with the picks that we traded away, that's just going to be 2 less misses for us. So the re-sign phase is going to be really quiet for us. I'm just going to be handing out a lot of 2-way contracts. Struble, Mark Stone, both you guys are likely not going to be returning to the team. Jaden Struble, you're 1000% not returning now that I know you want 3.1 million. I'll qualify you as an RFA, but I'm not giving you 3.1. Alright, now we're going to find out whether that Svechnikov deal was actually a smart deal or not, because now he wants to sign an extension. How much does he want? 13.3 million with a no movement. I don't know if I can do 13.3 million with him. I'm going to try to get that around maybe $11 million. But I don't know if we're going to be able to do $11 million with him. Could we do a modified no trade? Does that give you any interest? It doesn't look like it. We actually might be moving on from Svechnikov already. Like, do I really want to give him $13 million? That just seems like quite a bit. I know we have the cap space and we can afford it, but it just doesn't seem like that's the right move. Like, maybe we just circle back with the Carolina Hurricanes. Svechnikov for Seth Jarvis. Seth Jarvis is only getting paid $7.4 million. Yes, he didn't score a ton of goals last season, but we know this man's going to take shots. And with him having Demidov as a primary playmaker, I think that could be the move. So that's what we're going to do. Svechnikov, thank you for the 45 seconds you spent on this team, but now we're going to move on from you. We're going to pick up Seth Jarvis instead. I low-key wish I could have talked to Svechnikov beforehand, and then if he told me, yeah, I want $13 million, I wouldn't have made that deal. So after acquiring Svechnikov, we'll send it back over to Carolina, and now we're bringing in Seth Jarvis, and I'll just have him play left wing minutes for me. Now, I guess we do have $8 million in cap space, so if we want to, we could make one deal. We don't have to make a deal, because I think Seth Jarvis was really the only guy we had to pick up. But Frank Vatrano, how about I bring you in for the bottom 6? I'll give you a no movement, $5.3 million. I just need you for 1 season. So after losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champions in the second round for the 3rd time in a row, what did we do with this team? Absolutely nothing. We're going to run it back with basically the exact same guys, and we are going to pray we get a different result. And what would you call what I'm doing right here? Insanity. We are doing the exact same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Now, it looks like instead of being 7th in the entire league at the trade deadline, the Montreal Canadiens are going to be 2nd, so they're going to stop that trend. We're no longer falling in the standings when we get to the trade deadline. 2nd in the entire league with a 36-17-7 record. I can live with that. However, the offense isn't nearly as good, but our defense is elite. That doesn't make any sense. Like, none whatsoever. Why is our offense worse and why is our defense better? You know what? I'm not going to question it. I guess that's just what Seth Jarvis means to this team. We replaced Patrick Laine with Seth Jarvis. Next thing you know, we're an elite defensive team, but not quite as good offensively. It also helps that Monty has 25 wins, 3 shouts, a 921 to 246 so far. So I guess that will impact this team a little bit. Now, when it comes to making any trades, I don't know what we're looking at, but Svechnikov is on the trade block, so I just thought I'd point that out because that's pretty funny. So I guess we'll take a quick look at who's available. If we can make a move that makes sense for us, I think we'll do that, but I also wouldn't be overly surprised if we do absolutely nothing here. Okay, I might have found a deal that actually makes quite a bit of sense for us. So it's going to be Jake Evans and 2 4th-round picks. Never mind, we're not making any deals. Tyson Forster's been traded. I wanted to bring Tyson Forster to the team. I guess if you don't make a deal within 30 seconds, you're not going to get the player you want. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. So yeah, we're not making any moves now. Tyson Forster was literally the only player I was interested in. So the season has come to an end. The Montreal Canadiens are looking pretty good. I haven't looked at the standings. I haven't looked at stats. I haven't looked at anything. We have to change things up. We have to try something so we don't lose in the second round to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. We're winning game 1 and we're winning game 2 against Florida. We're off to a great start so far. Let's win game number 3 and then win game number 4 and then move on. Okay, we are not going to do that. We're instead going to drop game number 3, but luckily we're winning game number 4. We're dropping game 5. Don't drop game 6. That was way too close. We're moving on to the second round, and we have the Buffalo Sabres up next. I refuse to lose to the Buffalo Sabres, and I refuse to believe the Buffalo Sabres are going to win a Stanley Cup before us. We dropped game number 1. What are we doing? We've won back-to-back games. Make it 3 straight games. It's a best of 3 moving forward. It's a best of 3 against the Buffalo Sabres. We are not losing to the Buffalo Sabres. One more victory is all I'm asking for. Can we get it? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to go to game 7? We all know it's about to happen. Every person watching this video right now knows we're about to lose in Game 7 to the Buffalo Sabres. It's a scoreless first period. Moving into the second, we're taking over, but not really. We scored 3 goals, but Buffalo scored 2. The third period is about to decide this one. Can we hold off the Buffalo Sabres and make it to the conference finals for the first time in this video? Kulich is scoring a goal. There is no way Kulich is scoring. I am closing my eyes. I am simulating overtime. I am about to open my eyes and see that nobody scored. Okay, that was so anticlimactic. I am closing my eyes once again. I know I don't have the face cam on, but that is beside the point. I have simulated double overtime, and our winner is going to be Luosterainen and the Montreal Canadiens. He's stepping up big time for me. I don't really know why I was closing my eyes. Like, there's literally no point. The face cam isn't even turned on right now, but that's beside the point. We are beating the Buffalo Sabres in double OT, and we're moving on to the conference finals for the first time in this video. So does that mean the Montreal Canadiens are finally going to win a Stanley Cup? They got out of the second round, we have momentum, and we are going to keep on winning. We have a 3-1 series lead on the Boston Bruins. We just need to win one more game. Can we do that? Yes, we can. We are in the Stanley Cup final. Everything is looking good for the Montreal Canadiens right now. Marty St. Louis wants to have a quick chat with me. I want to talk to you. Not right now. We have momentum. I can't spend time talking to you. We have to keep on rolling because that is what we are doing right now. The LA Kings taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Who is going to be hoisting the Stanley Cup? Well, we have a 3-1 series lead after dropping game number 1. I am asking for one more victory, and we're not getting that in game number 5. So give me one more victory in game number 6. Why are we not scoring goals anymore? I am terrified heading into Game 7. Game 7 is going to settle the Stanley Cup final. It all comes down to this. Beauvillier is picking up the first goal of the game. Moving into the second, it's Slafkovsky, it's Joshua, it's Slafkovsky again. We have a 3-1 lead entering the third period. Can we close this out? Can we take down the LA Kings? Yes, we can, because we're just going to pick up 7 goals in Game 7, and just like that, the Montreal Canadiens are Stanley Cup champions. So what did we learn from this postseason run? Win in the second round and you'll win a Stanley Cup. Nah, but that was crazy work. The Montreal Canadiens actually won the Stanley Cup. When it comes to the regular season standings, I know we don't care about these, but we were second in the entire league. Tage Thompson led the way. He had 92 points. It was a great season from him. I think the main difference this season was Seth Jarvis. Seth Jarvis improved that second line just enough where we're going to be Stanley Cup champions. And then goaltending, Monty was also incredible. 37 wins, 5 shots, a 920 and a 248. He was holding it down for us, and he might have been the reason we're Stanley Cup champions. When it comes to our postseason scoring, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, you were an elite first line. Noah Dobson, you were great as well. I have no clue why Demidov was -10, but I'm not going to question it. Monty, 16 wins, 2 shots, a 902 and a 304. I'm amazed we won with those numbers, but we're Stanley Cup champions, so I don't care what the numbers look like. We finally did it. We were able to win a Stanley Cup in year number 4, but that's not going to be the last Stanley Cup from Montreal. We're looking to win at least 8 in this video. Now, if things couldn't get better for the Montreal Canadiens, we're going to bring in another lowly potential player. I just really hope some of these lowly potential guys actually develop for me. Now, it's a good thing that we won a Stanley Cup this season because I cannot guarantee everyone coming back to the team next season. When it comes to handing out extensions, we could be in a tough spot. Jake Evans, I think you're going to have to leave the team. Luosterainen, I think you're going to have to leave the team as well. If I can bring you back in free agency, I'll try to do so. Struble, I'm done qualifying you as an RFA. You keep asking for more money season after season. We're done with it. Everyone else I think is going to be leaving the team except for maybe Morgan Barron. I think we can re-sign for pretty cheap. Yeah, we're doing a 2-way contract with him. He's been a healthy scratch the last 2 seasons. And then I guess with a handful of these other 80 overall guys and 79 overall guys, we can do 2-way contracts as well. Except for Lilleberg though. We'll do 2.2 for the next 2 with him. Now I will say right now, there is a very good chance that we're making a big time trade here. And the only reason we might be making a big time trade is Nick Suzuki and Tage Thompson both need extensions. Neither of them want to sign an extension. So how much money are we going to be looking at? $14 million for Suzuki actually is not terrible. Tage Thompson, how much are you going to be looking for? $18 million on a 3-year deal. We're about to make the wrong decisions. So with Nick Suzuki, it's time to bring you back to the team. We are going to throw an absolute bag at you. I don't really know if I want to do a no movement though. If we do a no movement, you're going to be on the team till you're like 38 years old. I don't really know if that's the move. You know what? We're embracing Nick Suzuki here. So Nick Suzuki here is $13.5 million for the next 7 7 years. Hopefully that's going to be enough to convince you to rejoin this team. I don't see why you wouldn't want to rejoin the team. And then when it comes to Tage Thompson, we're going to throw an absolute bag at you as well. I don't know if we're going to have enough money for both these players. We're going to find a way to make it work though. I think in this video, I might do something very different compared to what I've done in the past. And what I actually might try to do is not always trade players away right before their trade value falls off. Like, I am embracing Tage Thompson on this team. I am embracing Nick Suzuki. If we have these guys into their late 30s and they're not performing as they should be, well, that's just the way of the road. We might have to embrace a mini rebuild over the course of these 25 years, because let's be honest here, name me one NHL team in the salary cap era where for 25 straight years we're a top 5 team. It just doesn't happen. Eventually you have to rebuild, and I think that's what we're going to do in this video today. We're going to be elite for 10 years, but at some point we are going to have to do a mini rebuild. So with that being said, there will be some tough times ahead with this team, but when it comes to the near future, we're looking at a couple Stanley Cups for sure. Also, Chisholm, here's 2.2 for the next 2. Okay, we are going to do something incredibly risky, but it's not really risky because in my head it makes a lot of sense. But if everything goes to plan, it's actually not going to be that risky of a deal. Jordan Binnington, I'll also bring you in to be the backup. It's either going to be you or Sheloff. I actually don't care which of the two we get. Now, when it comes to handing out some money in free agency, there is this medium franchise potential player available. Now, of course, this man is going to be an RFA, and there's no reason why the New Jersey Devils wouldn't match his contract. However, in saying that, $14 million. I will offer you $14 million. That means we would have to give up our next 4 years of first-round picks. I'm willing to do that in order to get a franchise potential player. I think this guy could be elite for us. I don't know how on earth we would be able to re-sign him next season. I guess at the very worst, we could just qualify him as an RFA, but I think we got to get a little bit risky out here. But in reality, how risky is this? Because we're giving up 4 picks that are going to be around the 25th overall range. I would definitely give up 4 25th overall picks in order to get a franchise potential player. So Matt Stackel has accepted the 1-year deal. The only question is, are the New Jersey Devils going to accept the offer sheet? Are they going to match it, or are we going to be walking away with Dackel? There is no reason that they shouldn't be accepting it unless they have no money, and it looks like the New Jersey Devils aren't going to match the offer sheet. We're giving up our next 4 years of first round picks, but I am perfectly fine with that. We just brought in a 21-year-old franchise potential player. That is an absolute steal. Now, how are we going to bring this guy back next season? We will figure that out later, because I honestly have no clue. Like, when it comes to all those first round picks that we traded away, as I mentioned, they're going to be like the 25th overall pick. And the 25th overall in reality is a mystery box. We don't know what we're going to get with that pick. More than likely, we're just going to be walking away with some medium top 6 potential players or medium top 4D potential players. So in reality, I traded 2 medium top 6 potential players and 2 medium top 4D potential players for a franchise potential player. I think we won that trade. Now, I think this might be one of the best teams I've ever built. 5 90 overall players when it comes to our top 6. When it comes to the defense, 3 more 90 overall players. So 8 of our 20 players are 90 overalls. And then when it comes to our goaltender, Monty's up to an 88 overall. Yeah, we're going back to back. There is no way we don't go back to back this season. There is no team in the NHL that can compete with us. Now, I'm not too worried about what we do during the regular season, because I know for a fact once the postseason comes around, we're going to step up. The offense, not looking great, but the defense does. 2.67. Yeah, I said 6'7". Haha, funny number in the comments below. You know what? Because of that, I'm not going over the stats. Nope, I know there are comments about it right now. Yeah, funny number. Ha ha ha. Yeah, here's the goaltending numbers. End of the season. We're not making any trades because of 2.67. I guess I've reached UNC status or something. I don't understand it. I don't get the 6'7" thing. It literally makes no sense. I am so out of the loop when it comes to that stuff. I googled what it meant, and apparently some rapper just said 6'7" in his song, and somehow that's how it started. I don't understand now why we just say 6'7" to absolutely everything. Like, that part of it makes absolutely no sense to me. But yeah, here we are. Stick on the ice is apparently 40. Alright, so this happened to work last season, so you know what? We're just going to do it again. We're going to simulate the first 7 games of round number 1, and then after that, we're going to simulate the first 4 games and move forward. We're winning game number 1, we're off to a great start. In game number 2, the Florida Panthers are going to be responding. I just want to point out we are the reigning Cup champions right now. We're looking to repeat, and that's exactly what the Montreal Canadiens plan on doing. Can we take Florida down in the first round? Well, an 11-3 victory is certainly going to help us. us, we're moving on to the second round. Now, the second round is where we have struggled quite a bit. We get the Buffalo Sabres once again in the second round. So this is basically just a repeat of what happened last season. And what happened last season? Well, the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup. We're dropping game 1 but responding in game 2. Moving into game 3, it's a must-win game for us, and that's what we're going to be doing. We currently have a 3-1 series lead on the Buffalo Sabres. Give me one more victory and we're moving on. And that's exactly what the Montreal Canadiens are doing. They're advancing to the conference finals, and now we have the Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals are the only team that stand between us and the Stanley Cup final, and we're going to get past this team. And how are we doing it? Through a sweep. We're sweeping the Washington Capitals, and we're back in the Stanley Cup final, and it's the revenge series. It is the revenge series for the LA Kings. They're looking to get back, but I'm not going to allow that to happen. I will not allow the LA Kings to get back. The Montreal Canadiens are going to take them down, and we're going to go 16-2 in the postseason. I guess not. We dropped game number 1. We dropped game number 4. The series is all tied up. It's a best of 3 moving forward. Who can win game 5? Arguably the most important game. Well, of course, it's going to be the Montreal Canadiens. And can they close it out in game number 6? Yes, they can. The Montreal Canadiens, Stanley Cup champions once again. Why is this method working? Is the face cam unlucky? Because it low-key seems like it. In the 2 Stanley Cups we've won, we haven't looked at the standings. We don't look at the regular season stats until after the postseason simulation, but we're 2-0 when we have tried this method. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but moving forward, we're going to be doing this until I am proven wrong. Dackel, 64 points, 28 goals, 36 assists. He's a 92 overall. I have no clue how much money you're going to be asking for when it comes to an extension, but I'm just hoping we can do it. Monty, 40 wins, 5 shots, a 916 to 251. You were incredible, and once we got to the postseason, you were even better. This entire team was even better. Look at Dackel in the postseason, 7 goals, 17 helpers, 24 points. Cole Caulfield, 32 points. Nick Suzuki, 34. The Montreal Canadiens were flying during the postseason, and so was Monty. 16 wins, 2 shots, a 920 and a 243. The boys just went back-to-back, and we're looking to make that a three-peat next season. But Dackel, I do want to take a quick look at how much money you're looking for. It doesn't look like you're interested in signing an extension with the team. How much money do you want? You want $14 million. We have 1.7. I don't know how we're going to make it work, but we'll find a way to do so. Alright, so I think we're about to run into a lot of financial problems with this team. Like that medium franchise potential player we traded for last season, we have to give him an extension now. We don't have a ton of money to work with, so I think we have to trade for a rookie. And with that being said, how about we trade for the first overall pick? Now, I will say, if this gets really stupid and they're not willing to accept a reasonable deal, I'm more than likely just going to trade for the player. Like Slafkovsky 1-for-1 for the first overall pick, this should be pretty fair. Of course, they're going to be rejecting it. Trade value wise, we're not even close. I'll give you the 64th overall and a future second rounder. If you don't accept this deal, St. Louis, I will just trade for the player, and I'll make this very simple on us. I'm just going to trade for the player. I just want to point out, I was willing to give up Slafkovsky and 2 second round picks. More than likely, St. Louis is now only getting Slafkovsky. So here's what we're going to do. Slafkovsky for Hutton, 1-for-1. We probably could have gotten assets back in this deal as well. We could have probably gotten a second round pick as well. I still haven't figured out why draft picks have significantly more value than the actual player. It will never make sense to me. Like Slafkovsky and 2 second round picks was enough for the first overall. However, Slafkovsky himself was more than enough for the guy that went first overall. How does that make any sense? Now, outside of getting the guy that went first overall, we're also going to get a lowly potential power forward, so we're just loading up on all the power forwards. Alright, so Dackel, how much money is it going to cost us to bring you back to the team? You want $13.9 million. We have $9.9 to work with, so we're not going to be able to do that. The best I can do is qualify you as an RFA. Your qualifying offer is $14 million because that's what I gave you last season. I'm actually fine with giving you $14 million for one season. I'm going to keep it a stack. I have no clue what we're going to do for these next upcoming seasons. We do not have a lot of money to work with. Josh Wall, I'll qualify you as an RFA as well. You're going to be looking for too much money. I'm going to sign a handful of these rookies. We're going to have to make a lot of trades over the offseason. Seth Jarvis, you're likely being moved. Alright, now there's a lot of players that need extensions. And Dackel, I still haven't figured out what we're going to do with you. But we're going to start with Cole Caulfield. And how much money is he going to be looking for? $13 million. I just want to point out we have $41 million to work with. So we have to be very selective on who we bring back to the team. Rasmus Anderson, I can almost guarantee you're not coming back to this team. Demidov, I really want to bring you back. $14 million is quite a bit though. Like between you and Cole Caulfield, it's basically using up a majority of our money. Caden Gooley wouldn't be able to come back to the team. Zachary Bolduc wouldn't be able to come back to the team. Like I want to keep Dackel on this team. He's a 92 overall, medium franchise potential. I think he could be an elite player for us, especially on the top line. Demidov, I feel like I'm obligated to keep you around considering this is a Montreal Canadiens rebuild. I don't want to lose both Caden Gooley and Rasmus Anderson though, because that's losing two of our key defensemen. But you know what? That might just be happening. Cole Caulfield, it's time to lock you down. But you know what? It looks like Cole Caulfield's actually going to help me quite a bit here. We're going to do 11.8 for the next 6 seasons. He's getting a full no movement. I can work with that. And then Demidov, can we please do basically the exact same thing? We actually might be able to save quite a bit of money with Demidov because I'll give him a no movement in that final season. Can we actually do 4 years with you? He's not really interested in 4 seasons. So how about we do $11.5 million for 3 years? 11.5 for the next 3 years with a no movement in that final season. I think that's enough to convince Demidov to rejoin the team. And then that's going to leave us enough money to bring Dackel back to the team. We just have to free up a little bit of money for this season. Alright, now this is what I think we're going to do. Seth Jarvis over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We bring in Hunwick. Now he's an 84 overall rookie. He's going to be really good. However, he's not going to play this season. I'm actually going to send him back to juniors for one more season, and then we'll save a year on his contract. So when Rasmus Anderson and Caden Gooley leave the team next season, we'll have him step in for us. This is basically a move just to free up cap space. We're in a tough spot right now. Seth Jarvis isn't going to be quite enough, so I'll throw in a second round pick as well. So hopefully Jarvis in a second round pick is going to be enough. I don't want to throw in multiple seconds, and I guess we don't have to do that. All they want is this lucrative 7th round pick, and the lucrative 7th rounder is going to get it done. So with Seth Jarvis no longer on the team, we're going to have enough money for Dackel, and it's actually going to be pretty easy. We're going to save a little bit of money because I'm giving him that no movement. We'll do 13.3 for the next 7 seasons. Matt Dackel, welcome back to the team. So we're starting off with some good news. Cole Caulfield's going to be accepting the deal. Demidov's going to be rejecting though, and then Dackel is going to be rejecting as well. Alright, we are not off to a great start. And the Winnipeg Jets are sending an offer sheet our way. No, I won't allow that to happen. Granted, how good is Winnipeg? Like, if Winnipeg is going to be a bottom 5 team for 4 straight seasons, that deal actually might make sense, but this team is not going to be bottom 5, so we have to figure out a way to get those contracts done. So Dackel, what are you going to be looking for now? Do you want 17 million? Okay, this is actually a bit better. He's looking for 11.9. We very well could get this deal done. I'll do 11.5 million for the next 7 seasons. That should be more than enough to bring him back to the team. So I'll simulate a couple days. Hopefully he's going to be accepting our deal. I don't want the Winnipeg Jets to be claiming him, but I think that might be happening here. He's refusing to accept a contract. He's going to wait the full 7 days. We're going to lose him. Do I trade him? Do I trade him away? Because I'm pretty sure if I simulate one more day, we're going to lose him. He's not accepting a contract. He wants his $17 million from Winnipeg. Like, I know for a fact we can get more than 4 first-round picks. Like, we're going to be talking about 4 first-round picks in the 20th overall range. I guess we have to trade him. We don't have any other choice here. Dackel, I thought you were going to be a big-time player. I guess it's just not working out for us. This trade will not go through. Dackel currently has an outstanding offer sheet and is not available for trade. So I guess that's a thing. Yeah, so we're going to be losing this man. Yeah, that is tough. That is so incredibly tough. Unless he accepts our contract, which he very well will not be, I think we're going to be losing this man. $17 million. We don't have the cap space for him. So Dackel, after the one great season you played with the team, I am now gained 4 first-round picks for you. I traded away Slafkovsky and Seth Jarvis. Yeah, that's tough. Well, Caden Gooley, do you want to come back to this team? $9.4 million? I guess we could do it because we have no one else to spend our money on. So Caden Gooley here is $8 million for the next 4 years. Why not? You know what? Maybe it's about time Zachary Bolduc jumps into the top 6. So we'll give him $6.8 million. He'll get his modified no trade up to 50%. Zachary Bolduc's been an elite player for us, and it's time he gets a great opportunity. Now maybe 6.8 is not going to be enough, so I guess we'll do $7 million for the next 4 years. Basically, he's just going to end up being a lower overall Seth Jarvis. He's going to be playing in Seth Jarvis's role. He's a lower overall. Yeah, this was a tough offseason. I had big plans, and none of them worked out. Now, I guess with all those first-round picks we got from the Winnipeg Jets, we could trade some of them. So I'm going to trade a 2031 first-round pick over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll bring in Adam Fantilli this time, and the trade's actually going to go through. Also, Joshua, I was unsure about bringing you back to the team, but you know what? At this price, I think we can do it. $3.6 million for the next 2 years. Also, to finish off free agency, we will sign a couple guys to 1-year deals. Berard, I'll bring you in for $1.1 million. You can play some good minutes on our bottom 6. And then Taylor Radish, we can do the exact same thing with you, except you're looking for a 2-year deal. What if we did 1 year? You're not interested in 1 season. All right, who else can we go with? I guess we can go with Kiefer Sherwood. Yes, he's 35 years old, but we just need him for this 1 season. So here's $1.8 million. Now, what can I say? Heading into the offseason, I had some big plans. all of those plans fell apart. Every plan that I had did not work out for us. So this is the team we're going to be rocking for the three-peat. We are clearly not as good as we were last season. There was method in the madness. I want to bring Dackel back to the team, but after being offer sheeted and making a bunch of trades in order to free up the money, we just ended up being in a worse position than we were last season. What can I say? Plans just did not work out for us. The other thing we haven't done yet, re-signing Demidov. We've just not been able to get a deal done with him. I want to do more than 3 years, but you know what? I might just have to give up on that. So instead, 12.8 with a no movement. Never mind, we can get that down a little bit more. How about we just do 12 million for the next 3 years? Demidov, I think that is a fair deal for you. What if we did 4 years though? Then you're wanting a little bit more money. Do we go for the 4-year deal? You know what? Let's just keep it simple. 3 years, $12 million. It's $500K more than what he's getting paid right now. Demidov, you better accept that. All right, Demidov, you got to work with me here. You need to sign an extension with the Montreal Canadiens. I have failed at signing way too many extensions so far. We have to be successful with one of them. Now, even though we made a lot of moves during the offseason and we came out losing in basically every deal, we're still 4th in the entire league, a 39-18-5 record, and we all know once the postseason comes around, this team's going to step up. We're looking pretty good offensively. The defense is spectacular. Tage Thompson has 62 points so far. Cole Caulfield 61. Nick Suzuki 60. The second line's not looking too bad either. Demidov 59 points. Adam Fantilli 43 points. Zachary Bolduc, I need you to do a little bit more though. I know you can step up in the big time moments. I've seen you do it before. It's time for you to lock in. And then Monty, 31 wins, 4 shouts, a 912 and a 244. These numbers are looking pretty solid. I've seen what you've done in the postseason the past 2 years. I just need you to replicate that. Now, I don't think we're going to make any moves here because we really don't have a lot of cap space. So we're just going to exit the trade deadline. And the first thing we're doing is talking to Demidov. We have to get this deal done. Also, there's a very good chance that I'm pronouncing Demidov's name wrong. I think it might be Demidov. So Demidov, same difference to me. We'll offer him a contract extension, and now he wants 2 years at $15 million. He is not helping us at all. This man refuses to help the Montreal Canadiens. I can't even give him a clause. What if we did 3 years? Then he wants $16 million. We'll do $14 million for 2 seasons. That is the contract you are getting. If you don't accept that deal, do not be surprised if we trade you away. Like, as much as I want to keep this man on the team, there are limits. Demidov, I'm sorry. We're probably not bringing you back to the team. As much as I want to keep you in Montreal, you're just not working with me. Now, to finish off the season, the Montreal Canadiens are going to be 3rd in the entire league, a 53-24-5 record. This team knows what they have to do once the postseason comes around. Our offense was 4th in the entire league. Our defense was likely the best in the entire league. Never mind, Buffalo's was slightly better. They allowed 10 less goals than us. That's perfectly fine. The Montreal Canadiens are locked in this season. Cole Caulfield, 88 points. Nick Suzuki, 88 points. Tage Thompson, 84. So we had 3-point-a-game scores. Demidov was 1 point shy of a point a game. I would love to bring you back to the team, but you are not helping me. You have not helped me at all in this video. You just keep on taking more money after more money after more money. Sign a team-friendly contract. That's what the Montreal Canadiens have been building here, but I guess you don't want to be a part of that culture. But without further ado, it's finally time for us to dive into the postseason. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Montreal is looking to complete the three-peat. They've won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Now they have to win the third one, and we're starting it off with 2 straight victories, only allowing 2 goals in the first 2 games. We're off to an amazing start. Monty is looking fantastic so far. I don't think this man's going to slow down anytime soon. Granted, he did allow 4 goals in game number 4, but I'm not too worried about that. He's responding in game 5, and we're moving on. Now, the Montreal Canadiens have not struggled in the first round whatsoever in this video. The second round is where they struggle. If they get past the second round, then they're going to be winning. I also just realized I have the face cam on. Yeah, I'm supposed to have it off, but I completely forgot about that, but it doesn't matter because we are rolling right now. This team cannot be stopped. We're 7-2 so far in the postseason. Let's make that 8-2, and we're moving on to the conference finals. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to have the face cam off, but this is the following day, so I completely forgot about that. Trust me, I'm not sitting down in one sitting to do a 25-year rebuild. This takes multiple days. After winning the first 2 games, we might be dropping game number 3, but we're going to close this one out in game number 5, and we're back in the Stanley Cup final. As long as we make it past the second round, we are 2-0 in the Stanley Cup final. Every year we've made it past the second round, we've won the Stanley Cup, and we're looking to continue that against the Edmonton Oilers. So is Edmonton going to have an answer for our elite defense? It doesn't look like it. However, they have won back-to-back games now, so game number 5 is going to be the most important game. Can we win this one and take the lead in the series? It doesn't look like it. Our defense is collapsing when it matters. This can't happen. It's time for the defense to lock in and the offense to lock in as well. We need to start scoring some goals. Well, we're going to pick up the first 3 goals of the game. McDavid would respond, but we have a 3-goal lead entering the third period. Can we hold on to it? Yes, we can. It was a late push from the Oilers, but we're off to Game 7. Game 7 to decide the Stanley Cup. Montreal's looking to complete the three-peat, while Edmonton's just looking to win a cup here. Connor McDavid is yet to win a Stanley Cup with the Edmonton Oilers so far in this video. Montreal's looking to win their 3rd in a row, and Zachary Bolduc is going to start the goal scoring off. Moving into the second period, we're exchanging goals. It's Philip Forsberg and it's Tage Thompson. The third period is going to decide this one. Who's going to be walking away with the Stanley Cup? Well, Edmonton's putting on some pressure, so we need overtime. Overtime is going to settle this one. Can Montreal score the next goal and win the Stanley Cup? It doesn't look like it. Kyle Palmieri is picking up the OT winner, and the Montreal Canadiens are going to fall in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. This was a heartbreaking loss. Like, out of all players to score the OT winner, Kyle Palmieri in 2031. Bro's got to be at least 80 by this point. Now, as much as I can gas this team up, the offense wasn't there in the postseason. Cole Caulfield 17 points, Fantilli 16, Tage Thompson 16, Josh Waugh 15. We had great depth scoring, but the first line just wasn't there. We were lacking top 6 scoring. When it comes to goaltending though, Monty, I can't ask for much more. A 933 and a 212 with 3 shutouts. You held up your end of the bargain. The offense just wasn't there for you. And speaking of offense, Demidov, are you going to sign an extension with us? Will you finally accept a deal with the team? You know what? I'm not giving you $15 million. I'm just not doing that. So Demidov will be leaving the team. If Bro wants to play hardball, I'll play some hardball with him. And my hardball is just not bringing you back to the team. Also, to make things even better, Winnipeg was absolutely terrible, and that pick that we traded away ended up being the 4th overall. We cannot catch a break right now, but at least I know that for the future. So we're not trading any of their first round picks away moving forward. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking with Demidov. We're going to trade him over to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Kent Johnson's going to join the team. Now you might be thinking Kent Johnson at $13 million is not worth it. However, he signed an 8-year extension at $11 million. I can work with that to be our second line centerman. Ryan Rubrock's also going to be brought in. I have no clue what role he's going to fill on this team, but I think he's going to be a great player. The Islanders just drafted a franchise potential player. Shout out to them. We're also looking to get the 29th overall pick in this deal. Demidov, you made this too difficult. If you just signed a reasonable deal with the team, we wouldn't have had this problem. Now, with the 29th overall pick, we didn't get anything notable. However, with the 63rd overall pick, we're walking away with a medium-league potential goaltender. Starting off as a 59 overall at 18 years old. This guy's going to have lots of time to develop. So a handful of guys are going to be leaving the team, including 91 overall Rasmus Anderson. But that's perfectly fine because we're going to call it that player we traded for from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's ready to jump to the lineup. He's going to be like an 88 overall. Basically, everyone else here is going to be walking. We'll sign some rookies, one of them being an 80 overall, lowly potential 80 overall, by the way. He's going to play some good bottom 6 minutes for me. But yeah, with everyone else, it's 2-way contracts. We only have 2.6 million, so we really can't do too much. Now, when it comes to extensions, I'm not really worried too much. Josh Waugh, you're likely going to be leaving the team. I can actually guarantee you're going to be leaving the team. You're an 89 overall. You want $10 million. We're riding out your contract for this season. We're trying to make it back to the Cup final, and I'm going to need you. Ryan Rubrock, you're probably also not going to be brought back to the team, but I can qualify you as an RFA. You want $8.5 million. That just won't happen. So if we're going to do anything here, we're just going to sign a couple guys in free agency. And you know what? How about one of those players be Lilleberg? I didn't realize you only wanted like $1.9 million. I can definitely do 1.9 for one season. And then with the remaining 2.3 million we have, we just got to bring in one guy for the bottom 6. Now, who exactly is that player going to be? I have no clue yet. Morgan Barron, you can be that player. Once again, it's another guy I didn't bring back. Never mind, we actually can't bring in Morgan Barron. We only have $1.3 million, not 2.3. I mean, at the end of the day, that just means we're going to be running a 79 overall in our 4th line, and I can live with that. Now, we've made it to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. We won 2 of them, and then we lost last season in Game 7. When looking at this team, there is no way we don't make it back to the Stanley Cup final. Like, we are just looking incredible from top to bottom. Caden Gooley is technically a higher overall than Lane Hudson, but I want Lane Hudson and Noah Dobson playing alongside each other. Once again, we're going to have 490 overalls when it comes to our defensive core. Troy Hunwick, a rookie, is a 90 overall. Yeah, we're ready to take over the NHL. Monty, you've dropped to an 84 overall. Gorgiev's going to be the backup. I'm not really too worried about goaltending overalls. Monty has stepped up for me time and time again in the postseason. Why wouldn't he do so again? Also, with us having no cap space whatsoever, we're not going to be stopping to make any trades. We're going right to the end of the year. Now, the Montreal Canadiens are exactly where they want to be, second in the entire league. As long as this team doesn't win the President's Trophy, they're going to show up during the postseason. We had a better offense and a better defense than the Dallas Stars, so clearly we're the best team in the entire league. Tage Thompson 112 points, Nick Suzuki 109, Cole Caulfield 107, so our top line all had 100 points, and then Kent Johnson, he was doing his thing. Adam Fantilli was looking pretty solid. Hutton was amazing in his rookie season, 38 goals and 20 helpers for 58 points. He's stepping up in the big time moments for me, and then when it comes to goaltending, we know what Monty's going to do in the big time games. He's going to show up. We're ready for the postseason. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Let's go on another deep run. Time and time again, this Montreal Canadiens team has found a way to step up, and I think that they're going to do it again here. They're going to go on another Stanley Cup run, and they're going to make it to their fourth Stanley Cup final in 4 years. This team has been absolutely flying. However, we did just exchange the first 2 games, so we better not lose game 3. We lost game number 3. We're going to be responding in game 4, but I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself. We have to take down the Tampa Bay Lightning first. You can't win a Stanley Cup if you lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. We're 1 game away from moving on. Can we close out in game number 6? It doesn't look like it. We have game 7 coming up. Montreal, I had way too much faith in you, and when I have faith in you, you're going to let me down, so let's lock in. The Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal Canadiens, game 7 of the first round. Tage Thompson's picking up the first goal of the game. We're exchanging goals in the second period, so the third period is going to decide this one, potentially even overtime, but we're not going to need overtime because we're going to close this one out 4-2. So Montreal is going to be advancing, but Tampa put a lot of pressure on us. And I feel like whenever we feel pressure in round number 1, that just means we're going to lose in round number 2, so hopefully that's not going to be the case. We're going to be taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. The last thing I want to be doing is losing in the second round to the Toronto Maple Leafs, because as we know, if we can get through the second round, we can make it all the way to the Cup final. And you know what? We swept the Toronto Maple Leafs, so we're Stanley Cup final bound. Every year that we've been able to get through the second round, we've been able to make it to the Stanley Cup final, so we're going to do that again here. We have a 3-1 series lead on the Buffalo Sabres. As long as we get through the second round, we're going to make the Cup final. I don't know what it is, but that just seems to be the trend now. This video started off with us losing in the second round 3 years in a row, each time to the eventual Stanley Cup champion. Then in the past 3 years, we've won in the second round, and what has that led to? A Stanley Cup final appearance. Well, now we've done it 4 times in a row, and we're looking to win a Stanley Cup. After winning the first 2, we're dropping the next 2. Game number 5 is a must-win for us, and we're going to be dropping it 2-1. We're not losing in back-to-back Cup finals. Okay, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if we do lose this, it is going to be very interesting. We're allowing the first goal of the game. We're exchanging goals in the second, so the third period is going to settle this one. Alright, new rule. The face cam is off during the postseason until further notice. Because I just want to point out, we have made it to 4 straight Stanley Cup finals. In the first 2 in which we won, I didn't have the face cam on. Then the following day came around, being these last 2 simulations. And during these last 2 simulations, I've had the face cam on. Isn't it kind of funny that we've lost the last 2 while I've had the face cam on? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but something ain't right here. Like, it is quite the coincidence that the second I turn my face cam on, we start losing in the Stanley Cup final after winning in the second round. Before, it was as long as we won in the second round, we would win a Stanley Cup. Then I turned the face cam back on. Nah, a stick on the ice might be lacking here. He might be letting the team down himself. Monty, 14 wins, 1 shutout, a 9-11 and a 261. Monty, your numbers weren't too bad. I'll take a 917. A 261 is definitely a goals against we can win with, but I let you down. I let you down by having the face cam on during the postseason run. That won't happen again. Also, I just want to point out, we got the 10th overall pick from the Winnipeg Jets, so good thing we didn't trade that pick away. Alright, so I would like to move up to the 3rd overall pick range. So what I'm looking at here is the 10th overall, the 95th overall, and a future second rounder sent over to Nashville. If you guys really aren't going to accept this, I'll just trade all of these picks for the player, and I guarantee you it's going to work out for us. I mean, as long as you don't end up drafting the defenseman, because there is a defenseman in the top 3 that I don't really want. It looks like McMuffin's going to be going to the St. Louis Blues. I low-key want him now that I know his name is McMuffin. I didn't realize that's what his name was. I paid 0 attention to his name. I was only looking at position. I low-key want to bring McMuffin to the team. So Nashville did draft the guy I wanted, an 81 overall centerman. He is a sniper. I could see him having a really big role in our team in the future. So let's go ahead and trade for him. So what exactly am I going to give up? Basically the exact same package I offered them for the 3rd overall pick. So here you go. This is the exact same package I offered you earlier. Are you going to be willing to accept this time? They're still saying no, but I feel like we're not not that far off. So here's a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick. We are giving up all the picks necessary, but I think it's going to be working out for us once we get this deal done. I mean, I guess I could also give up Ryan Rubrock in this deal, and then this would be significantly easier. We could probably do the 10th overall and Ryan Rubrock. We actually might not even have to give up the 10th overall pick. Ryan Rubrock, a 3rd rounder and a 2nd might be enough. So then we can hold on to the 10th overall pick and draft a great prospect ourselves. You know what? Ryan Rubrock in the 10th overall is what's going to be sent out. Like, at the end of the day, Ryan Rubrock was not a part of this team's future. He's looking for way too much money for the role he's playing. Berglund, I could see you having a really big role in this team. I could see you being a great player for us, so I'm perfectly fine with giving up this package. Now, this draft hasn't been anything special. We're walking away with a medium top 6 potential player. However, in the 4th round, we did get a medium top 4 deep potential player, so that guy might turn out to be a good player for us. Yeah, shout out to Evans, medium top 4 potential. He's starting off as a 50 overall at 18 years old. We'll have to give him a handful of years to develop. Now, a handful of players are going to be leaving the team here, but that's just the way it goes. Josh Wall, you're not going to be returning. You're an 87 overall. You want $8 million. I can't do that for a bottom 6 player. Chisholm, you're likely going to be leaving. Lilleberg, you're going to be leaving as well. Basically, everyone that's not going to be signing a 2-way contract is going to be leaving the team. I guess William Trudeau, I could give you $1.1 million. You can play some third pairing minutes. And then Riley Kidney, here's $1.2 million. You're playing good 4th line minutes for me, so why not? And you know what? Let's just keep the deals going. I mean, if we can bring guys in for cheap contracts like this, I'm definitely not going to be against it. 1.1 for the next 2 years. Now, it's probably a good thing that we have $11.1 million in cap space for this season, because that means we're going to be able to use that money in extensions. So starting off with Tage Thompson, he's looking for $18.6 million. I don't think I can do that. I think we have to ride out Tage Thompson's contract. $18 million is just a little bit too much. When it comes to Noah Dobson, $14.6 million, that is also quite a bit. However, you've been a really good defenseman for me. You and Lane Hudson as our top pairing has been absolutely spectacular. So Noah Dobson, I am willing to bring you back to the team. It just has to be at the right price. And you know what? 12.5 for the next 3 years. I think that's the right price. So Noah Dobson, welcome back. And then Monty, if I'm being completely honest, I think this is likely your final season. Never mind, I'll bring you back for one more. Here's $4.9 million for one season. We'll save $100K. Now, over the offseason, we are going to make a couple moves, and those moves are going to be very small. Like, Schmid's going to come in to be our AHL goaltender, maybe even NHL goaltender. I haven't really decided with him. I think he's going to be the NHL goaltender because Maryline, I'll bring you in. You're going to be the AHL goaltender for us. Our goaltending tandem is now set. Now we just have to make some improvements to the bottom 6. And with $10 million to work with, we should be able to get some decent upgrades. So we'll start off with Braden Yager. I'll do 2.8 for the next 3 seasons. Adam Sikora, I can do 2.3 for the next 3 years. And then Mayorov, I have no clue why you're a UFA considering you're only 22 years old and you have medium top 6 potential. But here's 2.7 for the next 3. I feel like that's an absolute steal for you. Now, Montreal has set a very high standard, and that standard is making it to the Stanley Cup final every year. They have been able to accomplish that feat 4 seasons in a row. However, they've lost the last 2 Stanley Cups. That's not going to happen this time because the face cam is going to be off. I'm turning the face cam off right now. It will not be turning back on until next season. If we do win a Stanley Cup this season, then something funny's going on. Because I'm sorry, having the face cam on and losing Stanley Cups and having it off and winning Stanley Cups, there is no way those two things correlate. It makes 0 sense. Okay, now this might not be a good thing for us. The Montreal Canadiens won the President's Trophy, a 59-19-4 record. I'm not feeling too confident now. Luckily, the face cam is going to be off, so that's going to help us. However, we won the President's Trophy. I don't think this team has seen any success when winning the President's Trophy. I could be completely wrong. Maybe we've won a Stanley Cup after winning the President's Trophy. I'm just not 100% sure if it's happened. We have the Florida Panthers in the first round. We know what the standard is. Now, the standard is keeping the face cam off. We are going to keep it off, and what we're also going to do is simulate the first 7 games of the postseason. We have to simulate the first 7 games of the first round. We can't jump into any of these games. We're going to take down the Florida Panthers. Then we're going to beat whoever's in the second round. I don't care who we have to match up against. We're going to find a way to beat them. So what's going to happen in game number 3? Well, of course, we're going to win that one. Can we win game number 4 as well? Yes, we can. 7 goals is going to be more than enough. So we have 3 games to close this out. We're not going to do it in game 5. Can we do it in game 6? Yes, we can. We're moving on to the second round. So the Montreal Canadiens are advancing to the second round, and we're taking on the Buffalo Sabres. We have beat the Buffalo Sabres a handful of times in the second round, but it's a new year. Buffalo might be a completely new team, and they're beating us in game number 1. Luckily, we're going to be responding in back-to-back games. Make that back-to-back-to-back games. We have a 3-1 series lead on the Buffalo Sabres. We're closing out in game number 5. There is no way this is happening. There is no way we're going to make it back to the Stanley Cup final, and then we're going to win because I have the face cam off. There is just no way that's going to happen. Okay, it actually might not happen. Oh, well, that backfired. This is the very first time we've lost in the conference finals. I don't know what to say. Yeah, that was a heartbreaking loss. The Montreal Canadiens are losing in the conference finals after making it to 4 straight Stanley Cup finals. We're going to be losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champs. Okay, the trend continues. If we ever lose in the postseason, we lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. Now that I think about it, I think that's happened in every season. We're 8 years into this rebuild, and every year we have either won the Stanley Cup or lost to the eventual Cup champs. And that's pretty crazy considering we've only won 2 Stanley Cups. So that means the other 6 times we've lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champs. Maybe except for one season. I might have completely overlooked one season. Maybe we've only lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions 5 of 6 times. But even still, that's pretty wild. Somehow the Montreal Canadiens always find a way to match up against the best teams. When it comes to our top players, they showed up for me. Zachary Bolduc, 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points. He's an 86 overall. I'm going to be honest, there is a world in which we trade you. And then Monty, he's not the guy anymore. 8 wins, 0 shouts at 899 to 343. Monty's starting to fall off. It's the end of an era. Now we're only going to have 1 first-round pick to work with, and that's going to be the one from the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to be drafting a medium top 4 potential defenseman. He's beginning as a 61 overall, so there is a bit of promise with this guy. However, when it comes to our next draft pick, that's the one I'm the most excited about. Can we get a mediumly potential goaltender with the 62nd overall medium starter? That's a heartbreaker. All right, let's see if this works out. We're drafting this guy because he's a gem. That's the only reason we're drafting him. Medium top 6 potential. Yeah, I'll take that considering we basically did 0 scouting on him. And then of course it would only make sense for us to get a lowly potential player because why wouldn't we draft one of those? Now we're going to have $18 million in cap space moving into next season. So Tage Thompson, what are you looking for? This is why I didn't re-sign you. I thought there was a possibility that you would ask for less money and we could do a better deal. Well, we're certainly going to be doing a better deal. I'm giving him a no movement. We're keeping him around for 1 season. Could we do $11.5 million for 1 season? I think 11.5 is going to be really pushing it, but how about we do 12.2? 12.2 for 1 season. Tage Thompson, you can run it back for 1 more season. You're an incredible player on the top line. I want to keep you around. So that's going to leave us with 7.7 million. Owen Beck, I can do 1.9 for the next 2 years. I think that's pretty reasonable for you. And then that's going to be the last major deal we do. Now it looks like Lane Hutson's deal has finally come to an end, but not only has Lane Hutson's deal come to an end, a lot of deals have come to an end. So we're going to have to decide on who we want to keep on this team. Starting with Lane Hutson, $18 million for the next 6 seasons. You're a Montreal legend. I guess I have to keep you around. So this is what we're going to do with Lane Hutson, $16 million for the next 6 seasons. We're going to be left with $20 million in cap space. I don't know how we're going to be able to afford everyone. Like Hunwick's going to be looking for $11 million. I mean, I guess that's not too terrible. What if we did a 5-year deal and then I did a modified no trade? We might be able to lock you down for $10.5 million. How about I do 10.6? Actually, we'll make that 10.75. Then there's a very good chance you come back to the team. We're left with around $9 million. That means we can only keep either Hutton or Adam Fantilli. And low key, I kind of want to keep Hutton. I think he's a bit better. He's a little bit younger. I'll give you a no movement as well. We should be able to get that down to around $10 million. Actually, we might be able to do less than that. Can we do 9.8 for the next 7 years? Actually, 9.5. This is getting a little bit greedy, but 9.5 for the next 7 with Hutton. Yeah, I can't turn him away at that price. So Adam Fantilli, there is a chance that you leave the team at the end of the season. But you know what? That's just the way she goes. And then Monty, this is your final season with us. Well, you know what? Maybe we can keep Adam Fantilli here. Because Zachary Bolduc, I can trade you away, and that frees up around $7 million. How much is Adam Fantilli going to be looking for? Because if Adam Fantilli's only looking for like $11 million, we might just have to wait until the salary cap goes up. Okay, he wants $14 million. We're going to hold off with Adam Fantilli. We'll try to make a move at the end of the season or something. So the only free agent signing that we have to make here is going to be Bloomquist. We're bringing him in to be the backup at $1.9 million. I guess I can also take a quick look in free agency and see if I can find any star players that we might want to bring to the team. Like any guys that have pretty high potential that teams are undervaluing. I guess there is this lowly potential player right here, starting as a 64 overall. He has lowly potential. I'll bring him to the team in free agency. He can play some top line minutes in the AHL or something. And I think there's a very good chance that's probably going to be the only guy. Well, that's certainly not going to help us. Lane Hutson's not going to be accepting his extension. Hunwick is not going to be accepting his extension. I guess everyone's going to reject their contracts. So let's try to circle back with some of these guys and get some deals done. Hunwick is not interested in signing an extension with the team. He wants $13 million now. Lane Hudson, how much are you going to be looking for? You want $18 million? Hunwick, I'm going to be honest, there's a good chance you probably don't come back to this team now. Lane Hudson here is $16.3 million for the next 7 years. If I'm giving you $16.3 million, we're left with around $11 million, and I don't know how we're going to find $11 million for Hunwick. I mean, I can try $11.5 million for the next 4 with a no movement in that final season. So instead of giving you 5 years, we'll just be doing 4. So Lane Hudson's going to be rejecting the contract I gave him. Hunwick's going to be accepting. Lane Hudson, this better not turn into a Demidov situation. So how much money do we have for Lane Hudson? We have $17.1 million. We could do this. He is now asking for 8 years. Somehow this is slowly worked out for us. 16.4 for the next 8 years. Is Lane Hudson going to be accepting that? The contract interest is very high. The organizational interest, not so much, but that doesn't really make too much sense to me considering you've been here for about 11 years now. He is still saying no. I might just have to give you exactly what you're looking for. I know you're not interested in signing an extension with the team. Here is $17 million for the next 6 seasons. You're only willing to accept 6 years now. Truthfully, that actually might work out a little bit better than 8 years considering you're about to turn 30. But Lane Hudson, are you finally going to accept a contract I'm offering you? I know I said I want to try to ride out as many players' contracts as possible, but in this situation, we might have to trade Lane Hudson. Alright, so last season things didn't go according to plan. We ended up getting swept in the conference finals, but that's not going to happen again with this team. A lot of these guys are looking to bounce back. The defense is looking to bounce back. And then when it comes to goaltending, I don't care if Monty's dropped to an A3 overall. I know he's going to step up in the big games. The real question is, Lane Hudson, are you ever going to sign a reasonable deal with the team? Do you want to come back to Montreal? Because if you don't want to come back, just say that. So I'm going to try one more time to get a deal done with Lane Hudson. We have $17.155 million in cap space. Here is $17.155 million in cap space. If you don't accept that deal, I'll trade you. Like at this point, there is nothing more I can do with Lane Hudson. If he doesn't want to play for Montreal anymore, he doesn't have to play for Montreal. I'll just trade him away. I don't really want to trade him away, but the problem is I can't ride out a 29-year-old's contract, especially when that 29-year-old has franchise potential and his trade value is basically maxed all the way out. Like realistically, $17 million is too much for him. Like I can't be paying him that much money. So Lane Hudson, are you going to be accepting? Thank you. Thank you for finally accepting. That deal is going to come back to haunt us though. Like I guarantee you, once we get to the end of that deal, we're going to be paying like an 82 overall $17 million. Now after signing Lane Hudson to that big extension, I think it motivated the team. First in the entire league, a 61 win campaign, almost 4 goals per game and only allowing 2.54 from top to bottom. We're looking amazing. Tage Thompson's leading the way with 107 points. We're not going to be able to bring him back next season. We're not going to have the money, but that's perfectly fine because we have guys that are willing to step up into the lineup and they're willing to take over. The defense looked amazing from top to bottom, and then goaltending, Monty only had 9 shutouts this season. Yeah, just a casual 9 shutout performance from Monty. So he's looking absolutely amazing. We have the Ottawa Senators in the first round. Is this the first time we've taken on Ottawa in this video? It very well could be. I actually don't recall the last time we've taken on the Ottawa Senators. I think this might be our first matchup against them. So Ottawa versus Montreal, I guess we're going to see what happens here. Hold on, wait a minute. We got to stop something. I simulated game number 1, but what are we doing? We simulate the first 7 games. In round number 1, we have to simulate the first 7, and I think by simulating the first 4, I messed up all the momentum. We have now lost 2 games in a row. Can we respond to game 3? Yes, we can. Montreal is going to be fighting back quite a bit in this series, but they're going to be dominating game number 4. 9 goals is going to be more than enough, but we're dropping game number 5. What's going to happen in game 6? We're stealing that one. Can we win game 7? Back-to-back big-time wins. 12 goals across the past 2 games, and that's going to allow us to advance. I'm not going to lie, we got real lucky there. I thought I messed up the momentum. I thought I messed everything up, but that's not going to be the case. We're taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the second round, and right now the Montreal Canadiens are absolutely flying. A sweep over Tampa Bay, and we're moving on to the conference finals. Now, when it comes to the conference finals, we don't have to worry about the Columbus Blue Jackets this time. However, the New York Rangers are definitely going to be a competitive team, and we have to watch out for them. But we are just winning game after game right now, back-to-back sweeps. We're moving on to the Stanley Cup final, and we're going to have the Dallas Stars. So I believe we've won 10 games in a row now including 2 straight sweeps. Can we sweep the Dallas Stars and win 14 games in a row? I think I'm asking for a little bit too much, but how about we just take down the Dallas Stars? We're dropping game number 1. We're not getting swept. Luckily, we're splitting the series, so it's a best of 3 moving on. Game number 5 is going to be by far the most important game. Can we win that one? Yes, we can. 7 goals is more than enough. And can we take that momentum into game number 6? It doesn't look like it. Game 7 for the Stanley Cup once again. Montreal has been in this situation before, and it has not gone our way. However, this time, we're going to figure it out. We're simulating the first period, and we're picking up 2 goals to the Dallas Stars 1. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one, so the third period is going to sell this one. I have my eyes covered. I know you can't see this because the face cam is off, but that's beside the point. I am simulating the third period, and in the third period, when it mattered most, we're exchanging goals. But exchanging goals is perfectly fine because Tage Thompson's picking up the last one, and that's going to be the Stanley Cup winner. The Montreal Canadiens are winning another Stanley Cup, our third of the video, and the man that just scored the most important goal, unfortunately, is going to have to leave the team. It's a sad day, but we don't have any money left. Adam Fantilli is likely going to be leaving the team as well. We've been able to win 3 Stanley Cups over the past couple of years, but now the salary cap has caught up to us. We just don't have money like we used to. But look at Noah Dobson, 33 points, Cole Caulfield, 28, Kent Johnson, 28. Look at all the point-a-game scorers. We had 6 point-a-game players during the postseason, and then when it comes to goaltending, 37-year-old Monty, as an 82 overall, has taken 1 more home, a 16-3-2 record, a 915-255. I don't know how on earth we're going to find Monty's replacement. It's certainly not going to be easy, but the Montreal Canadiens have won another Stanley Cup, 5 appearances over the past 6 seasons, 3 Stanley Cup victories. We've certainly built a dynasty here. Now, before we get to the draft, I am a little bit curious with how much cap space we have. The salary cap has gone up. It only went up like $2 million though. Okay, yeah, so Adam Fantilli is gone. Tage Thompson's gone. This lowly potential player is likely gone. Luckily, we do have this rookie that I haven't signed yet. He's going to be jumping into the lineup with his medium league potential. He might have to jump to a top 6 role immediately. Now, we do own the 19th overall pick from the Winnipeg Jets, and with the 19th overall, we're selecting a lowly potential player, a 72 overall. NHL 26 has way too many lowly potential players. I'm sorry, but there is no way I average about 1 per draft. But you know what? I'm certainly not going to complain about all the lowly potential players because I love bringing those guys to the team, and I also love bringing in medium top 6 potential players who are 64 overalls. So with the $2.5 million we have, this is probably going to be the only signing we make. We're bringing in this rookie. He's getting his entry-level deal, and that is it. We can't afford to sign anyone else. Fantilli's leaving the team. Tage Thompson's leaving the team. I guess I can qualify this RFA right here. Hopefully he's going to have a little bit of trade value, but I don't think he will. Since he has lowly potential, this game seems to disrespect these lowly potential guys. And then with players I can sign to 2-way contracts, I'll go ahead and do that. Now, after finishing up the re-sign phase, there's 2 guys that need key extensions, Zachary Bolduc and Caden Gooley. Out of these 2 players, who do I want to bring back to the team? Well, I think Caden Gooley, because for $13 million, that's an incredible deal. Zachary Bolduc, you'll likely play 1 final season with the team, and then you're going to be leaving. And you know what? Caden Gooley is definitely the right decision. 11.5 for the next 4 years. That's really not too much more what he's getting paid right now. When it comes to Bolduc, how much does he want? Yeah, that's a good one. That's 1000% not happening. I will do something like this though. Braden Yeager, here's $2.2 million for the next 2. And then this lowly potential player that we drafted a handful of years ago, here's $850K. Alright, so when it comes to our goaltending situation, we're in trouble. Like, we have no cap space whatsoever. So we're going to have 280 overalls as our goaltenders. Like, I don't know if these guys are going to be good enough to win us the Stanley Cup, but we basically have no other option. Like, Monty wants $6 million. I'm not giving Monty $6 million. Colton Ellis, I guess you can be the backup. Here's $1.2 million for 1 season. Yeah, we're in the trenches. Also, we need to bring in a couple cheap defensemen, so we'll bring in this guy, $1 million for the next 2 years. He's going to be accepting that deal, and then we need to find another defenseman looking for $1 million. And you know what? How about we go with Jack Thompson, only $850K for the next 2? That works for me. Now, when it comes to the RFA that we didn't have enough money to sign, I'm just going to trade him along with the 2nd round pick over to the Vegas Golden Knights. We can bring in this young rookie. He's an 80 overall, medium top 6 potential to begin his career. He can play some good bottom 6 minutes for me for the next 3 years at a really cheap price, and right now we just need players on cheap contracts. Now, I'm a little bit concerned moving into this season. Although the top 6 still looks really good, the bottom 6 is definitely taking a step back. Our top 4 defense looks amazing, but the third pairing is taking a step back. And then when it comes to goaltending, yeah, this is what we're rocking. It could be a long season. Now, although we're lacking a goaltender, we're 4th in the entire league with a 50, 25, and 7 record, and we actually ended up having the best defense in the NHL. NHL. We have two 70 overalls as our goalies. Nick Suzuki, he was amazing. 88 points and plus 63. Being plus 63 with only 88 points is actually ridiculous. Hutton, 87 points. Cole Caulfield, 81. The team is looking spectacular. And then when it comes to goaltending, yeah, these are numbers I can work with. Onninen's picking up 38 wins, 6 shutouts, a 920 and a 234. He is the guy. He is the guy for us moving forward. We're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. You guys know what you have to do. I'm going to be honest. I was not expecting Onninen to be that guy for us. I was not expecting him to be a superstar, but that's what he was this season. He was putting up superstar numbers, and if you ask me, it makes absolutely no sense. Unfortunately, we are dropping game number 1. We're going to respond in game 2, but he's allowing 5 goals. So far, he has not stepped up in the postseason, but we just have to give him a little bit of time. But he doesn't have time. We're down 2-1 in the series. It better not be 3-1. We're winning game number 4. Game 5 is a must-win for us. Can we pull it out? Yes, we can. Now we have to win game number 6, and that's what we're doing. So we're moving on to the second round, and who do we get to take on? Well, our best friends in the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know if the Buffalo Sabres have beat us yet in this video, so how about we take them down? We're dropping game 1 and we're dropping game 2. We are not losing to Buffalo. We're about to lose to Buffalo. We're down 3-0 in the series. Luckily, we're not getting swept to the Buffalo Sabres, but the fact that we were down 3-0 to the Buffalo Sabres and we just lost to the Buffalo Sabres, it's heartbreaking. Now, the wildest part about this is the Buffalo Sabres are about to win the Stanley Cup, because as you know, we only lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, but this might be a bit better. We're not losing to the eventual Cup champs, but in 2035, the St. Louis Blues are Stanley Cup champions. You know what? I'm not that mad with the second round loss, especially if the St. Louis Blues are bringing home the Cup. Kent Johnson, 15, Suzuki, 13, Cole Caulfield, he's picking up 12. When it comes to goaltending though, yeah, this wasn't it. An 879 to 357. Maybe Onninen can't be that guy once the postseason comes around. He's great for the regular season. He's just not that guy for the postseason. Now, if you thought things couldn't get any worse for us after losing in the postseason, it's miss after miss after miss. We're not walking in with any elite prospects. We're not even getting a low elite potential player. That's how you know we're in the trenches. Now, Zachary Bolduc, I want to thank you for the great seasons you played with the Montreal Canadiens, but it's time for you to go home. It's time for you to go back to the St. Louis Blues where you belong. Still haven't gotten over that deal, and I never will. Mayorov, you're looking for $4.8 million. That's not going to happen. I'll give you a qualifying offer though, because I can do 2.7. And then with everyone else, we're just going to be letting all these guys walk. We're not even going to sign them to 2-way contracts. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, but did I miss something? Noah Dobson, why are you a 96 overall? Maybe Noah Dobson's been a 96 overall for a while and I just haven't noticed. But Noah Dobson is a 96 overall at 35 years old. So when it comes to an extension, you want $17 million. I'm probably not going to do that. We're likely just going to write your contract for this season, but when did Noah Dobson become a 96 overall? Now, we need a goaltender. Last season, our goaltending wasn't good enough once the postseason came around, so how about we get one of the best goaltenders in the league? I'm going to send this package right here over to Tampa Bay, including a 7th round pick. We're getting Hextall. Now, Hextall is clearly not a goaltender. However, when we complete this 3-team trade, we'll get the goaltender we want, because as of right now, Ravensbergen is the highest rated goaltender in the league, and he's only getting paid $9.2 million, so I can live with that for the next 6 seasons. So Hextall and our medium league potential goaltender that's only a 79 overall is going to be sent over. San Jose has given us the best goaltender in the NHL. That's a game changer for us. Now, when it comes to filling out our bottom 6, like usual, I'm just looking for cheap players. And $950K for one season, that's definitely cheap. So we brought in a centerman for the 4th line. Now we just need to find a couple wingers. Now, I don't know who our wingers are going to be. Kinglerski, I could bring you to the team. You're a stick on the ice legend. If you know, you know. I mean, I shouldn't really call him a stick on the ice legend. Like, bro was in one video, and he was an auto-generated player, so yeah, we're not calling him a stick on the ice legend. And then with our final move, is this Isaac Howard? If this is Isaac Howard, we're bringing him to the team. Yeah, show it to Isaac Howard. I drafted you in fantasy. Don't let me down. Now, the Montreal Canadiens are slowly coming to the end of an era. Nick Suzuki is 36 years old. We have him under contract for 2 more seasons. Those are going to be the final 2 years he plays with the team. When it comes to Cole Caulfield, same thing with him. We have him under contract for the next 2 seasons. Those are going to be the final 2 seasons he plays with the team. After these guys are gone, we're likely going into a bit of a rebuild. Noah Dobson's going to be leaving the team pretty quick. Like, we still have Lane Hudson for a handful of years. We have him under contract for the next 7. When it comes to Kane Gooley, we have about 4 years left with him, so I mean, we're still okay there, but there's going to be some turnover happening with this team over the next couple of years. However, there is one man we can rely on, and one guy that's going to be here for a while. 90 overall Ravensburgen, the best goaltender in the league. Welcome to Montreal. You better lead us to a couple cups. Now, I just remembered something. When we won back-to-back Stanley Cups, if I remember correctly, we actually looked at the stats and regular season record at the end of our magnificent postseason run. So we're bringing that back. We're simulating the postseason, then we'll look at the standings and we'll look at the stats. We lost game number 1 in a shutout. We're responding in game 2 though. I thought things were off to a tough start, but it looks like the boys are responding. 6 goals in game 3, 3 goals in game number 4. Can we take down the Buffalo Sabres? Yes, we can, and we're going to do it in a shutout. So we're moving on to the second round, and who are we going to be facing off against? Well, it looks like it's going to be the Ottawa Senators. So it's going to be an all-Canadian matchup here in the second round, but right now the Montreal Canadiens are looking elite, and they're just going to keep on rolling. Can we sweep the Ottawa Senators? It's not going to be a sweep because we're dropping game number 3, but maybe we can take them down in game 5 and move on to the conference finals. All right, we've now lost 2 games. I'm not a fan of losing 2 games. Let's not lose 3 games. We have now lost 3 games. Y'all better not lose 4. So we have game 7 coming up. After having a 3-1 lead in the series, we're now off to game 7. Y'all better not blow a 3-1 series lead. We're picking up the first 2 goals of the game. In the second period, it looks like the Ottawa Senators are going to be responding. Tim Stutzel's picking up a big time goal. What's going to happen in the third period? Well, Hutton's picking up a big time goal. Luke Hughes would respond, but Luke Hughes' goal isn't going to be enough. We're moving on to the conference finals. The Montreal Canadiens are almost back where they belong. This team belongs in the Stanley Cup final. They have built an absolute dynasty, and we know Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki have to get one more cup together. So we're 1 game away from making it to the Stanley Cup final. Close it out in game number 5. Okay, do not go to another game 7. We can't play another game 7. We don't have to worry about it. We're closing it out in game 6. We're in the Stanley Cup final, and who are we taking on? Our bitter rivals in the LA Kings. This has become a rivalry matchup. We have matched up against the LA Kings multiple times in the postseason, and the 2 times we've matched up previously, we've taken them down both times. So can we do it once again? Well, we have a 3-1 series lead. We need to win 1 more game. Can we do it in game 5? No, we can't. Can we do it in game 6? Close it out? Yes, we can. The 60-win Montreal Canadiens are going to win the Stanley Cup. Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield are getting another one together. Like, the boys were rolling the entire season. During the regular season, a 60, 15, and 7 record, 4 goals per game, only allowing 2.67. Oh, here we go with the 6-7 jokes again. Oh god. Okay, let's go over the stats real quick. This is what the stats looked like. Let's go look at goaltending. Here's what goaltending looked like. Ravensburgen, 45 wins, 6 shots, a 911 and 269. Even though I'm recording this the following day, I still don't understand 6-7. The joke makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't understand what the context behind it is. Nick Suzuki, Hutton, Lane Hudson, Cole Caulfield, they were lighting the lamp. And then when it comes to goaltending, Ravensburgen, 16 wins, 1 shot, a 920 and a 246. In the big time moments when we needed big time players, he's stepping up for me. I believe this is Ravensburgen's first Stanley Cup. Is that going to be the case? Yes, it is. Congrats to Ravensburgen, but the job's not done. I need you to win me a couple more. Do you see what I see? Nick Suzuki has decided to retire from the game. It is a sad day, an incredibly sad day. Nick Suzuki, after winning a Stanley Cup, is not going to be returning. I thought he had a couple more good years left in him. Apparently, Nick Suzuki thought otherwise. He is going to be leaving the Montreal Canadiens after winning that Stanley Cup. That is heartbreaking. That is a heartbreaking loss for the team. I don't know how we're going to recover now. Like, we lost one of our best players. I don't know how you replace a guy like Nick Suzuki. I guess we're going to have to throw a bag at somebody in free agency. Now, I don't recall when the last time I drafted a player like this was, but it's been a long time. And I'm not talking about drafting a low elite potential player. We get those all the time. A low elite potential goalie. Very rarely do I ever draft a low elite potential goalie. This might be one of the first times in history. I never draft low elite potential goaltenders. I draft low elite potential forwards and low elite potential defensemen, not low elite potential goaltenders. So with Nick Suzuki no longer on the team and entering retirement, we have a lot of money. Like, we have $27 million to work with. Noah Dobson, I don't know if I can bring you back, especially at $16 million. I know it's only a 1-year deal, but I think we have to do a bit of a retool. Now that Nick Suzuki's gone, we have to make some adjustments to this team. Now, you know what? I think Nick Suzuki Suzuki might have done us a favor here because he just happened to retire at the perfect time for us to spend all of our money on Robert Thomas. You know what we're doing. Robert Thomas, I'm throwing you a bag. No, I'm not going to do that. As much as I'd love to bring Robert Thomas to the team, he's not the guy we're going with. Instead, we're going to go with Riley Orr, 26 years old, a 90 overall playmaker. The contract he's looking for right now really isn't that different than what Nick Suzuki was getting, so I feel like we should be able to bring him to the team fairly easily. Alright, I don't know how easy it's going to be to bring him to the team. The Oilers are offering him $21 million a year, so that's something. So I had a quick discussion with Riley Orr. I'm going to be giving him 15.4 for the next 7. He gets full no movement, and I also promised him he's going to play on the top line. Although Edmonton is offering significantly more money, when it comes to organizational interest, we're way higher than them, so hopefully he accepts immediately. There we go. We got our Nick Suzuki replacement. Now we have to bring in a couple cheap defensemen. You know what? Cam York, I think you can play second line minutes for me. Here's 1.275 for the next 2 years. When it comes to the next defenseman we're bringing in, it's just going to be another really cheap one. 1.6 million for the next 2 years when it comes to Walrus. I'm perfectly fine with giving him that deal. And yes, I know his name isn't Walrus. Why did I call him Walrus? I have no clue. I just saw his name and the first thing that came to mind was Walrus. So I'm calling him Walrus moving forward. And then this is who our right defenseman is going to be. It's Axel. It's Axel Landin. I think he's going to be a serviceable enough player for us. Now we do need to sign 2 forwards to the team, and I'm hoping we can get some like 85, 86 overall players. I can only sign them to 1-year deals though, and Höglander, this is a no-brainer. Stick on the ice legend Höglander, here's 8.2 for the season. I'm expecting a few other offers. Buddy, nobody's giving you more than what we're giving you. And then when it comes to the final player we're bringing to the team, it's going to be another cheap guy. Maverick Bourque, you can join the team for 2.7. So here you go. Maverick Bourque and Höglander joined the team. We're ready to defend the cup. Now there was a handful of changes over the offseason. One of them was to replace Nick Suzuki. We brought in Riley Orr to be his replacement. He's going to be an amazing playmaker for us, locked down for the next 7 years at $15.4 million. I think that deal is going to turn out to be an absolute steal. When it comes to the defense, that's still looking amazing. We did lose Noah Dobson though, and that's definitely going to hurt us. However, when it comes to goaltending, we still have 90 overall at Ravensburg again. He's going to step up in the big time moments once again, and we're going to go back to back. Now, like usual, the Montreal Canadiens are putting themselves in a situation where they exactly want to be. Third in the entire league, a 51, 18, and 13 record. I don't know why we couldn't win any 3-on-3 games or win any shootouts, but that's neither here nor there. Hutton's going to lead the team in scoring now that Nick Suzuki's gone. He's picking up 101 points, 56 goals as well. Kent Johnson, 83. Cole Caulfield, 75. Orr did nothing for me. We just paid this man big money, and he's only picking up 68 points from me. Nah, bro's a fraud. Ravensburg, though, he's definitely not going to be a fraud. 45 wins, 3 shouts, a 908, and a 274. We're the reigning Stanley Cup champions heading into the postseason, and I guess the season's not even over yet. I thought we reached the end of the season. Apparently, I had to simulate one more day, and after simulating that one day, we're going to be taking on the Buffalo Sabres and Jet Greaves in the first round. So you already know what we got to do. We're simulating the first 7 games. We're going to simulate the first series. Problem is, we did look at the stats of this team. Like, we looked at our record, we looked at the stats, but we're not too worried about that. We're shutting them out in the first 2 games. The offense is flying right now. Can we shut them out in the first 3? It doesn't look like it, but a sweep over Buffalo would be a perfect way to start, but we're not going to sweep them. Instead, we're going to take them down in 5 games, and we're moving on to the second round to take on the Ottawa Senators. So the Ottawa Senators are up next for the Montreal Canadiens. Let's see what Montreal is going to be able to do against this team. Well, we're allowing 5 goals in game number 1. We're dropping game 2 as well. Can we win back-to-back? Yes, we can. So we're going to be avoiding the sweep for sure, but can we win 3 in a row? It doesn't look like it. We're facing elimination in game number 6, but I know Montreal can make the comeback. When the Canadiens have had their backs against the wall in the past, they've been able to bounce back, and I think they're going to do that again. We're picking up the first 2, make that the first 3 goals of the game. Yeah, we're moving on to game 7. However, Ottawa did make a late push. So it's game 7 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators. 2 Canadian teams, 2 Atlantic Division teams going at it. Who's going to be coming out on top? Well, Montreal's picking up the first 2 goals of the game. We're picking up the first 3 goals of the game. The exact same thing we did in game number 6, but this time we're not going to allow 2 goals in the third period. We're only going to allow 1, and we're advancing to the conference finals. Montreal is 4 games away from being back where they should be, which is the Stanley Cup final. We know Montreal's all about winning Stanley Cups because that's what they've done in today's video. We have the Carolina Hurricanes up next. I feel like we haven't seen Carolina a ton in this video, so I'm not too familiar with their team, but we did allow 7 goals in game number 2. Luckily, we are going to respond in game 4. We've currently tied this series up. Game number 5 is going to be a big one. Can we steal this one away? Why are we doing this? Why do we have to win game 6 and game 7 once again? Why can't we just give ourselves the lead in game 5? So we're facing elimination once again. Montreal's going to have to step up big time, and so far they're not doing that. that. We allowed the first 2 goals of the game. Make that the first 3 goals of the game. The opposite is happening compared to the last series, but maybe we can make a big comeback. Never mind, we'll just allow 5 goals and lose in 6 games. So the Montreal Canadiens are going to be falling without Nick Suzuki, and I guess that begs the question, is Cole Caulfield going to run it back for another year? Why am I not surprised? We lost to the eventual Cup champs. That only makes sense. So we're going to be falling to the eventual Stanley Cup champs in the conference finals. When it comes to the players' stats, what are we looking at? Well, Hutton did his thing, 16 points. Hudson did his thing. He's picking up 16. Orr was way better in the postseason, 15 points from him. Berglund's picking up 13. When it comes to goaltending, I mean, Ravensburgen was all right. 10 wins, 2 shots, a 916 to 271. I would like the goals against to be a little bit better, but a 916 is pretty solid. But as I mentioned earlier, what is going to be happening with Cole Caulfield? Is he going to be retiring, or is he going to run it back for another season? Granted, I don't even think we have him under contract for this upcoming season. So Cole Caulfield, more than likely, you just played your final games. Connor McDavid is going to be calling it a career at 40 years old. Clayton Keller is going to be retiring as well. Even Noah Dobson's retiring. But who isn't retiring? Cole Caulfield. So he's going to be running it back for another season, but more than likely not with the Montreal Canadiens. So after losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champs, we were hoping to respond in the draft, and this went worse. Like, we got nothing good. Low top 6, I believe, was the best player we drafted. Sometimes it's like that. Now, we do have a couple RFAs that we have to sign. I did look at signing these guys earlier, but we couldn't get anything reasonable done. Like, I don't know how I feel about $14 million for Mats Berglund. Like, he's a great player, don't get me wrong. But $14 million for a 71-point guy, I don't know, it feels like a little bit much. But you know what? Considering what we have here, let's give it to him. Like, Cole Caulfield's going to be leaving the team pretty quick. We're going to need somebody to replace him. Berglund, I guess you can be that guy. Here's 13.5 for the next 7. And then Imanen, I actually don't really know too much about you. I'm going to keep it a stack. What are you? I have no clue if you're a sniper. It looks like you're a playmaker. I don't know if we need more playmakers on this team, but maybe we do a sign and trade with you, because I don't think we need more playmakers on the team. I don't really want to give you $13 million. I think we might just qualify you as an RFA and trade you away. Also with Imanen, we do need enough money to re-sign a bottom 6, because we're losing a handful of guys here. So that's another reason why it makes sense to not give him a massive bag. Like, we're only left with $14 million. Considering there's like 5 players we have to sign, we should make sure we have a little bit of cap space. Now, after not spending too much money, Hunwick, how much are you going to be looking for? I know for a fact you want a bag, but $14 million for a 93 overall is definitely worth it. Like, you've been one of our best defensemen for a long time. I mean, right up there with Lane Hudson. So here's $13 million for the next 8 seasons. Now, I know I just said not that long ago, I wanted to make sure that we had enough money for our bottom 6. Then I saw this player available, Alexei Joseph. 87 overall, exact top 6 potential, 11.5 million. He's a good power forward that I think would fit perfectly on our second line. So we're going to offer him this contract right here. He's not going to be accepting immediately, so he's going to have to think on a couple of his offers that he doesn't even have right now. Now, before we do anything else here during free agency, we better make sure that we're actually going to be walking away with that player we gave a contract to. Because if we're not going to be walking away with him, that kind of changes some of the moves we make moving forward. So Troy Hunwick, he's going to be accepting his extension. Alexei Joseph is going to be joining the team. So now that we know that, we can make some moves accordingly. I'm going to trade you over to the Detroit Red Wings. We're bringing in Trojanovich for the next 2 years. I'm trying to get them to retain $1 million. And I think this will be possible after we give them a couple 7ths. So we'll start with 1 7th round pick. We'll see what they think. They're saying no. I'll give you 2 7th rounders. If they're not willing to accept this with 2 7th rounders, more than likely I'm just not going to have them retain any money. And that's going to be the case. So we'll trade for Trojanovich and a 3rd round pick. If they say no to this, we're just taking the 3rd rounder out of the deal. We'll just go 1 for 1. You're not interested in going 1 for 1. You're kidding me. All right, what if I throw this 7th round pick in the deal? The lucrative 7th rounder. Now you're willing to accept. Now we'll make one more deal before we head into next season. Ludwinski, I'm going to bring you in for the next 2 at 1.7 million. We'll also get a 3rd round pick in this deal after we give them a lucrative 7th rounder. Of course, the lucrative 7th round picks have to be involved in every deal, and that's going to be the case with this one. Minnesota's going to be accepting, and now we're ready to bounce back from last season's disappointment. Now I can confidently say this team is not as dominant as they used to be. We've lost a handful of amazing pieces over the years. However, we still have a great top 6. Our top 3 in defense, being Lane Hudson, Hunwick, and Caden Gooley, are carrying the way for me. And then when it comes to goaltending, Ravensburgen's still an 89 overall. He's still the best goaltender in the NHL. As long as we have that core together, we're going to be able to compete. Now this was a bit of a rougher season for the Montreal Canadiens, but they're still looking really good. Like, we're second in the entire league, but a 46 27, 29, 6 record. That's not up to our standards. 3.79 goals per game, 2.94 allowed. The defense definitely took a step back, but who took a step up? Hutton. He was dominating this season. 65 goals and 55 helpers for 120 points. Or took the next step this season. That's what we needed, 96 points. But look at Trojanovic. I was just thinking this guy was going to be a depth player for us, but he's picking up 38 goals and 28 helpers for 66 points. Maybe we're going to have to find a way to keep him on the team in the future. Meanwhile, Ravensburgen, 39 wins, 3 shots, a 908 and a 280. We know the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be putting some pressure on us, but if we're going to take them on at any point in the postseason, that's going to be in the conference finals. So there's a lot of hockey to be played until then. Montreal's got to lock in for 2 rounds, and then once they get to the conference finals, they'll have to lock in even more. Also, we're switching things up. I'm turning the face cam on. Let's see what the Montreal Canadiens can do against the Tampa Bay Lightning when the face cam is on. They're winning game number 1. That's a great start. Moving into game 2, we're going to be dropping that one. Not really ideal. So it's a best of 5 moving forward. Game 3 is a must win. We are not winning that game. Can we win game 4? Okay. So how about we just do this? Let's turn the face cam off and just start simulating games. We're down 3-1 this series after finishing second in the entire league, and we're immediately winning. So can we win game number 6 as well? Let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, I'm sorry. If we somehow make a 3-1 series comeback, the face cam is staying off for the postseason for the rest of this video. Yeah, we're going to keep the face cam off. I don't know how it's possible the face cam is unlucky, but it must be, because there is no reason that when I had the face cam on, we fell to a 3-1 deficit. I turned the face cam off and we immediately win 3 games in a row. Make that 5 games in a row. Are we going to win 7 games in a row? We have now won 7 games in a row since I turned the face cam off. We started the postseason 1-3. I turned the face cam off. We have won 7 games in a row. So let's keep that winning going against the Carolina Hurricanes. They're the best team in the NHL. We're dropping the first 2 games. We're winning game 3, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to respond once again in game 4. So we have a big hill to climb. We have to make a 3-1 series comeback. We've been able to do it before, so hopefully we can do it again here. But we do have to remember the Carolina Hurricanes are currently the best team in the entire league. They're going to be led by Celebrini, and you know what? I think they're going to find a way to take us down. We're going to be following in this one 4-2 in a 5-game series. I think there's a very good shot that we just lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champs once again. So yeah, for postseason runs moving forward, show it to the St. Louis Blues. I guess we didn't lose to the eventual Cup champs. St. Louis is going to be taking it home again here. But as I was about to say, the face cam is off for postseason runs moving forward. I don't know why my face is that unlucky. Okay, what an absolute steal with the 30th overall pick, an 81 overall defensive defenseman. This guy's going to jump onto the team immediately. I think he might be sticking around for the rest of the rebuild. As long as we can re-sign him to a reasonable deal 3 years from now, he could be sticking around for a long time. Now we're going to have $13 million in cap space, but I don't think we're going to be doing too much here. All of these guys are going to be looking for way too much money. I think there's a good chance that we don't sign any of these guys. Actually, I can tell you right now, we're not going to be re-signing any of these guys because all of them are looking for 1.3 million. Even guys who are 74 overalls want 1.3 million. Sorry, buddy, but you haven't earned anything yet. I guess we will re-sign Dempsey, 1.6 million for 1 season. We need a backup, and I guess he can be that guy for us. Okay, I kind of find it a little weird that not a single person in the world wants to re-sign with the Montreal Canadiens anymore. Kent Johnson, I guess, is interested in re-signing. He is 35 years old, though, so maybe we walk away from Kent Johnson. We'll ride out his contract for this season. Trojanovic, I actually wouldn't mind keeping you on this team, but $10 million seems like a little bit much. So I think we're actually going to end up riding out your contract as well. When it comes to some of these other guys, if they're willing to sign 2-way contracts, we'll keep them around. When it comes to Jordan, though, we could probably do a 3-year deal at 1.4 million. I'll actually make that 1.5 million. He's developing pretty solid for me, so I think he could play some good bottom 6 minutes next season. So like usual, we're going to scan free agency and try to find some cheap players that we can bring in for the third pairing defense and bottom 6. We're going to start with this defenseman right here, and if we do a 2-year contract, we can actually save quite a bit of money. So I'll do 1.4 for the next 2. And I think we actually might be able to do that with a majority of these players. If we do 2-year contracts, we'll be able to save a little bit of money. So that's what we're going to do with almost all of them. So here's 1.1 for the next 2 years. And then we'll bring in 1 right defenseman, and then our defense is going to be set for this upcoming year. So here you go, Parks. I'll do 1.2 for the next 3 years. That's a great deal. You're only a 77 overall though, so that does hurt a little bit. Now when it comes to any big splashes in free agency, I think this one's going to be the big splash. Schroeder, I'm going to bring you in for the next 2 years, potentially the next 3. I think we got to go with the next 3. 3. If we do the next 3 years at 4.5 million, I think there's a really good chance that he's going to be willing to accept that. He's an 85 overall at 26 years old. Hopefully he's going to be willing to accept that deal. Okay, this might be one of the best deals that I've seen in a very long time. 23 years old, lowly potential, 1.6 million. Absolutely, I'm 1000% bringing you to the team. Now, if we can find a handful more players like that, the bottom 6 actually might be looking pretty solid this season. Sale, I'll bring you in. You're only looking for about 1.2 million. What if we did a 3-year deal? That doesn't really work for you, so 1.2 for the next 2. That works for me. And then we'll finish it off with one more right winger. I'm not too sure who that player is going to be. This guy right here. He's 37 years old. His name's Cole Caulfield. Okay. Yeah, Cole Caulfield, welcome back to the team. Yeah, that's crazy. Woohoo, we're bringing Cole Caulfield back. I just saw 1.2 million. I wasn't even paying attention to the player's name. Wasn't even looking at the player's name. Cole Caulfield, welcome back. Now, you might not see the vision like I see the vision, but Cole Caulfield as a 79 overall, you're playing top 6 minutes for me. And why am I going to play you on the top 6? Well, in the past with the Montreal Canadiens, you have been an absolute beast. And last season when you weren't with us, you had 53 points, so you're definitely not a bad player. I'm surprised that you only wanted 1.2 million. That's actually a major surprise. I thought you were going to be looking for a lot more, but we're bringing you back to the team on an incredibly cheap deal. You might only be a 79 overall, but you're going to play like a 99 overall. Watch this man pick up like 75 points this season as a 79 overall. Also, I've circled back on Kent Johnson a little bit. What we're going to do is a 1-year deal with him. However, I would like to save a lot of money. So we're going to do something like this, 11.825 million for 1 season. That means we're going to be saving $2 million. I think that works really well. So I think we have to go back to our old ways that led us to multiple Stanley Cups. And what is that? Not looking at the standings, not looking at the stats, simulating the first 7 games of the first round, and then going 4 games at a time after that. Things are looking pretty solid for Montreal. We've already won the first 2 games. We're dropping game number 3 though, not really ideal, but thankfully we're going to win game number 4. And can we close out in game 5? It doesn't look like it. That's fine though. We'll close out in game number 6, and we're moving on to the second round. Now, Montreal's made it to the second round a handful of times. A handful of times we've ended up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, but more often than not, we're going to be winning in the second round. But things are not going our way right now. We dropped 2 games in a row, but we're going to be scoring 8 in game 4, so we've tied this series up. It's a best of 3 moving on. We're going to keep on scoring 6 goals in game number 5. Can we score 7 goals in game 6? It doesn't look like it. We're off to game 7 though. Game 7 in a big rivalry matchup. The Boston Bruins taking on the Montreal Canadiens. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Boston's taking over though. 3 goals from the Bruins. We're only going to be picking up 1. It's going to be coming from Berglund. So I'm going to need this team to wake up in the third period. If we want to win a Stanley Cup, we have to wake up in the third, and that's not going to happen. Instead, we're going to be completely silent in the third period. 39 shots is only going to result in 3 goals, and 3 goals is not going to be enough for the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to be falling in the second round. A heartbreaking loss for a team that hasn't made it to the Cup final in a number of years. Now, the St. Louis Blues are going to make it back to the Stanley Cup final, but the Carolina Hurricanes are going to find a way to get back, and they're going to be taking them down this time. When it comes to our postseason scoring, it didn't look terrible, but it didn't look great. Lane Hudson, 1 goal, 14 assists for 15 points. Berglund was amazing though, 11 goals in 13 games. He was lighting the lamp. The rest of the scoring, kind of mid, and then when it comes to our goaltending, spectacular. A 921 to 224. Yeah, the offense let us down, plain and simple. If Ravensburgen is putting up numbers like that, you gotta repay him with a couple goals. Now, I feel like it's been a while since we got an elite player in the draft, so how about we draft a medium elite potential goaltender who's also a gem, 47 overall to begin his career. I have trouble believing in this guy considering he's starting as a 47 overall, but I've seen crazier progression. Now, we're going to have $10 million in cap space. Trojanovic, I'm actually looking at bringing you back to the team at the right price. I don't know if 4.9 million is that price tag though. I guess it really depends if Cole Caulfield's coming back to the team. I actually have no clue what Caulfield did this season. Last season, what did Cole Caulfield do with the team? Oh, 51 goals. He had 51 goals and 33 assists. Okay, yeah, we don't need Trojanovic. We got Cole Caulfield. So yeah, we're going to let both of these guys walk. I'm perfectly fine with that considering what Cole Caulfield's doing. Now, I think it's going to be a really quiet off season where we're not really going to do anything. Kent Johnson, this is going to be your last season unless you sign another 1-year deal. Cole Caulfield, I'm not going to be bringing you back to the team. This lowly potential player, we're likely also not going to be bringing back to the team. He wants 3.7 million. You're playing bottom 6 minutes. I don't want to give you that. Sale, you're 34. You're not going to be coming back. Yeah, we're not going to be doing anything here except for handing out a couple 2-way contracts. So let's go ahead and find some cheap forwards willing to accept 1-year deals. Braden Yager is one guy jumping out at me. He was on the team earlier in this video, so how about we give him 4.3 million for 1 season. Yager, you can return to the team for one last dance. And then with our final signing, who are we going to be looking at? Well, how about Knight? I have no clue what his first name is. Clinton Knight. You can join the team. Here's $5.2 million for 1 season. This team's ready to get back to their former greatness. Now, it's kind of surprising, but this is actually probably one of the best teams that we've had in a while. The top 6 is looking really good. Even though Cole Caulfield's only an 81 overall, he's going to step up and he's going to play elite this season. The bottom 6 has an incredible amount of depth. When it comes to the defense, that's looking pretty solid as well. And then, of course, in between the pipes, we have 89 overall Ravensburgen, one of the best in the game. I'm never going to question this Montreal Canadiens team. They're always going to find a way to win. Granted, when is the last time we won a Stanley Cup? Because it's been a number of years now. It's time for Montreal to get back to their old ways. So you know the drill here. We don't look at the standings. We don't look at the stats. We simulate the first postseason series first, and then we worry about things after that. We're winning the first 2 games. Can we make that the first 3? Doesn't look like it. As long as we don't drop back-to-back games, we'll be in a good spot, but we're dropping back-to-back. It better not be 3 straight. We don't have to worry about that. We're not going to be able to win in Game 6, but we'll close out in Game 7. This series was way too close. The Detroit Red Wings should not have put this much pressure on us, so I'm a little bit concerned with the Montreal Canadiens moving forward. However, I think this team's going to bounce back in the second round. We're taking on the Buffalo Sabres, and we have had Buffalo's numbers so far in this video, and it looks like we're going to have it again. We're taking them down to sweep, and we're moving on to the conference finals. I don't know what it has been with the Montreal Canadiens and Buffalo Sabres, but I feel like the Buffalo Sabres just never beat us. They can never compete with this Montreal Canadiens team. So we advance to the conference finals. We're taking a 3-1 series lead. We need to win one more game and we'll be in the cup final, and that's where we're going to be. We've won the most important game, which is going to be game number 5. We're 12-4 moving into the Stanley Cup final, and who are we going to be facing off against? Well, it's either the Vancouver Canucks or Utah Mammoth, and it looks like it's going to be Utah. So Utah versus Montreal in the Stanley Cup final. It's been a number of years since the Montreal Canadiens won a Stanley Cup, but they're going to get one right here. We're going to be exchanging a couple games, but you know what? We're winning 3 straight after that. When I said exchanging a couple games, I really just meant the first 2 games. We're taking a 3-1 series lead, and I know this Montreal Canadiens team isn't going to collapse when it matters. The Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup champions once again. Cole Caulfield's going to be taking another one home, and that's likely going to be his final one as a Montreal Canadien. Taking a look at the regular season standings, Montreal's second in the entire league, a 52-26-4 record, 3.74 goals per game, and then 2.85 goals allowed. So offensively, we were amazing. Defensively, we were amazing. Hutton's looking incredible, 87 points. Orr's picking up 86. Berglund's picking up 84. When it comes to Cole Caulfield, 28 goals and 26 assists for 54 points. Yes, he's not the player he used to be at 39 years old, but he's still been a dominant force for us. And then when it comes to goaltending, Ravensburgen, 44 wins, 4 shots, a 900 save percentage, and a 284 goals against. The regular season numbers might not have been elite, but your postseason numbers must have been because we won a Stanley Cup. Orr, 33 points. Berglund, 32. Hutton, 30. Lane Hutson's picking up 21 points in 21 games. Cole Caulfield was not that guy during the postseason. Man, did he fall off. 1 goal and 4 assists for 5 points. Yeah, Cole Caulfield was an absolute fraud in the postseason. Luckily, Ravensburgen was elite. 16 wins, 1 shot, a 915 and a 246. So the regular season numbers, they were kind of mid. Certainly not the postseason numbers for Ravensburgen. He was a dominant force, and just like that, the Montreal Canadiens are winning another Stanley Cup. We have 10 years left in this rebuild. How about we bring home 5 more Stanley Cups? Okay, hold on. This could be an absolute steal. He's projected 40th overall, but we're going to take him a handful of picks early. He's also a gem. If we get a medium elite potential gem with the 32nd overall pick after winning a Stanley Cup, then that's a great sign for the future. Unfortunately, he's not going to have medium elite potential, but medium top 6 and a gem, that's not too bad. Now, of course, we couldn't end this draft without drafting a low elite potential player, so that's what we're going to do with the 192nd overall. We're getting Ramirez, 52 overall, 17 years old. Lots of time for him to turn to a superstar, and I think he might be able to. So with the $25 million in cap space, we have Kent Johnson. Maybe we can do another 1-year deal with you. Unfortunately, you're looking for 2 seasons. I don't really know if I can do 2 seasons with Kent Johnson at 37 years old. Granted, we just won a Stanley Cup, and he was a key part of the team. Let's just try to do less than $11 million. If I can get this down to under $10 million, I think we could actually do this. And you know what? This is very reasonable. $9.7 million for the next 2 with Kent Johnson. He's been an absolute stud for us. Is he going to be willing to accept that? Yes, he is. I don't care if you're 37 years old, you're still 91 overall, and you're still one of the best players on this team. When it comes to everyone else, we're not going to be re-signing anyone. Maybe Braden Yager, but $2.9 million seems like a little bit much. I know we can find some cheaper replacements in free agency. Now, Hutton's been on this team for a long time, and he signed one of the greatest contracts imaginable a handful of years ago. ago. But now it's time to bring him back, and it's time for him to get paid. He wants $20 million, and you know what? I feel like I can't turn him down. Like, Hutton has been by far one of our most important players, but maybe we're actually going to be saving more money than I thought with this deal. How about we do $18 million for the next 7 years? Your contract interest is still really high. I know the organizational interest isn't there, but I still feel like Hutton's going to be willing to accept that. So after bringing him back to the team, Schroeder, how much do you want? You want $11 million. Right now you're playing bottom 6 minutes for me, but I do think you can be replacing Kent Johnson pretty quick. Granted, you're a grinder. I actually never knew that. Okay, yeah, we don't want him here. Oberg, you're slowly moving up in the lineup, and $6.2 million actually isn't that bad for you. I'm not going to do $6.2 million. How about we do $6 million for the next 4? As long as you get an opportunity in our top 4, you're going to develop. And then with everyone else, we're not too worried about these contracts. I mean, I guess I am going to be worried about this one. Ravensbergen, he needs a contract extension as well. And how much is he looking for? Okay, we can get this done. I'll do $9.5 million. And how about I just give you a full no movement? That'll keep you on the team till you're 36, and I can work with that. Now, I think before we head into next season, we are going to make one trade, and that's going to be picking up Elliott. He's an 85 overall. That's getting paid $8.9 million right now. However, he has high top 6 potential, and I think he's going to be a great player for the top 6. I know he's a centerman, but I'll just play him on one of the wings. 90% of the time, I'm not really too worried about the positions when it comes to NHL 26, because if I'm being honest, a lot of them really aren't that accurate. Like, I'm pretty sure they still have Zachary Bolduc as a center. I am like 90% sure Zachary Bolduc did not play any center minutes for the St. Louis Blues, and if he did, he played very few minutes. Also, with us entering the final 10 years of this rebuild, I'm probably not going to show you a lot of the free agent signings moving forward. It's going to be very forgettable free agent signings. Like, basically, I'm just going to be looking for the cheapest players imaginable. Like, I just want guys that are willing to join the team for like $2-3 million. And as you can see, that's basically going to be impossible. This 83 wants $8.5 million. This 82 overall wants $8.7 million. So yeah, there's basically nobody willing to accept reasonable contracts anymore. So I'm not going to show all the 79 overall signings I'm about to make. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I have no clue why nobody wants to sign with the Montreal Canadiens when it comes to extensions. Like, Hutton, I know your organizational interest isn't that high, same with Ravensbergen, but even still, we should be able to bring those guys back to the team. I also don't really understand why your organizational interest wouldn't be that high. We're winning Stanley Cups like crazy, we're always a top 5 team. We're not going to have enough money for Hutton now. So do we go with Hutton or Ravensbergen? Hutton is a bit younger. I mean, he's like 5 years younger. I think he's a bit more important to the team. So we're going with Hutton over Ravensbergen. We'll figure out what to do with goaltending later. So Hutton, I'll do $18 million for the next 7 years. You better be accepting this deal. I don't want this to turn to another Lane Hudson Demidov situation where I basically have to give you exactly what you want. And that's going to be the case, isn't it? Well, let's just throw an absolute bag at Hutton here and hopefully it doesn't backfire on us. We actually can't do exactly what he wants because he wants $20 million for the next 8. So here's $19.925 for the next 8. That is a lot of money for one player. And bro didn't even accept that. He literally didn't accept the max that I could give him. Yeah, so I guess we'll figure it out with him later. Don't be surprised if he leaves the team now. So we won a Stanley Cup last season and we were able to keep a majority of the key guys around. Yes, the team isn't quite the same, but we have all the key guys that we need here. Ravensbergen, you're one of those key pieces. You're still around. The defense looks great. The offense looks great. As long as all of these guys show up in the postseason once again, I think Montreal is going to be going back to back. Also, Hutton, I'll give you $19.925 million for the next 7 years once again. I don't know if you're going to be willing to accept this contract. It is 1 year less than last time, so maybe that will change your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, Hutton's returning to the team. We're just going to be running a 0 overall goaltender next year, but we'll find a way to make it work. Now, instead of taking on the Buffalo Sabres in the second round, I guess we're changing things up this season, and we're going to find the Buffalo Sabres in the first round. Now, things were a little bit different this season for the Montreal Canadiens, and I don't really know why things were different. We dropped the first 2 games. Okay, we are not off to a great start. We need to win game number 3. I think we're dropping game 3. Are we going to get swept to the Buffalo Sabres? We just got swept. Okay, when I said things were different this season, something happened with this team. I don't know what happened, but we were really bad. Now, a 45-33-4 record might not look terrible, but you have to understand, this team was playing .500 hockey at the trade deadline. We were outside the postseason at the trade deadline. We had like a 28-3 record or something. Like, this team was not looking good whatsoever. After the trade deadline, we completely turned it around, but I don't know what happened with this team. Like, we were just not good. And the thing is, our numbers don't look bad. Hutton, 99 points, 59 goals, 40 assists. Or 79 points, Kent Johnson, 66. Like, yes, the scoring numbers took a little bit of a step back, but looking at plus minus numbers, we only had one guy who had a negative plus minus. A majority of this team was plus 10 or higher, so by default, you would think that we had a really good record and our goal differential would have been really good. I guess that just wasn't the case. Ravensburg, and I mean, you put up pretty solid numbers, but I'm just surprised on where we were sitting in the standings. Like, when it comes to our offense, I believe we had one of the best offenses in the NHL. Yeah, we had the second best offense. When it comes to our defense wasn't that bad. Like, we had a top 8 defense. So the second best offense and the 8th best defense is only going to get us 9th in the entire league. Alright, that was an incredibly interesting season. We're losing in the first round. We're actually getting swept. I believe that is the first time we've gotten swept in this video. And this actually might be our first round loss. We won a Stanley Cup last season. We lost in the first round. Ravensburg had a .928 save percentage, but his goals against was .263. Yeah, this man was facing way too many shots. Like, Ravensburg faced 153 shots. That's like 38 shots a game, and he only allowed 11 goals. Nah, Ravensburg, we let you down. We were not playing good defense in front of you. You were facing way too many shots. The offense didn't step up either. I guess it's the end of an era for the Montreal Canadiens. We have to go through a bit of a rebuild, but I shouldn't even say that because basically everyone has a no movement. So yeah, our core is locked down and Ravensburg is not going to be back next season. We could be in trouble. Well, at least we didn't trade our first round pick away, so maybe we can walk away with something decent. Bo Dillon, I'm going to select you with our first round pick. You're a grinder and you only have medium top 9 potential. I might not even sign you. Luckily, we will be bouncing back in the second round though. A medium elite potential defenseman. How old are you right now? Only 17 years old? Alright, you actually might turn into something for us. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to show you free agency, especially if it's just not notable signings whatsoever? Well, that applies to the re-sign phase. Literally nothing is happening here. And if nothing continues to happen moving forward, you're likely not going to see this screen. Why do we have $26 million? I was unaware that we had a lot of cap space. Who retired on us? Somebody definitely just retired on us. We still have Hunwick, but it looks like Lane Hutson's going to be calling it a career. So Lane Hutson's not going to be returning to the team anymore, but somebody else must have retired as well. And who is that other player that retired on us? Well, that's going to be Kent Johnson. He's not going to be returning to the team either. He's going to be calling it a career. So we're going to be freeing up a ton of money with those two guys not returning to the team. So Ravensburg, and you remember how I said I wasn't sure how we were going to free up the money for you? I just figured it out. We need guys to retire. So Ravensburg, and how about we bring you back for 2 more great runs with the team? Can we do sub $10 million? I think we might be able to do that. 9.5 for the next 2 with Ravensburg. That's going to leave us with about $16 million to work with, and we should be able to get another superstar for $16 million. Also, not only did we lose Lane Hudson and Kent Johnson, but we're also going to be losing Martin St. Louis. He's not going to be returning for another season. He's going to be retiring from coaching. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Jimmy Cope, you're with the New Jersey Devils right now. You're an 88 overall with medium league potential. Last season, you looked pretty solid. 69 points, 33 goals, and 36 assists. I think you would fit really well with our team. So I'm going to trade a first round pick, a second round pick, and that medium league potential prospect we drafted. Now, I think this guy could turn into a stud in the future. However, we can't wait. We have to win right now. So hopefully this package is going to be enough. They're going to be rejecting it. I'll give you multiple second rounders. I'm willing to throw quite a bit in this deal. We need a replacement for the top 6, and I think Cope can be that guy. Now, after trading for Cope, I have an idea of what his contract's going to be looking like. So bringing him back to the team shouldn't be too difficult. He wants $14.7 million. We could probably do 13.5. So here you go, Cope. Here's $13.5 million for the next 6 seasons. I think there's a very good chance you're going to be accepting that. Now, as the years go on, the team definitely is looking different. Like, we don't have anyone left for that original Montreal Canadiens team. I think Hunwick might be one of the longest tenured players on this team, but I shouldn't say that. Hutton's been here a long time. Berglund's been here a long time as well. But this team just clearly isn't the same as what it's been in the past. Ravensburg, and we still have you here at 34 years old. We know what the expectations are for the Montreal Canadiens, and it's definitely not first round losses. We need a big bounce back campaign this season. Now, I think we have to change things up a little bit this season. Last season, we got swept in the first round, and that doesn't happen to the Montreal Canadiens. The offense is still the best in the entire game. We scored 308 goals this season. When it comes to our defense, though, that is trending in the wrong direction, so we're going to have to work on that in the future. But once we're able to improve our defense, we're going to be back to number 1 in the entire league, and nobody's going to be able to compete with us. Hutton, Cope, Berglund, Elliott, or all of you guys are looking amazing this season. And when it comes to goaltending, Ravensburg, you only have 1 year left with the team after this season. And with the money we free up with Ravensburg, maybe it wouldn't hurt if we threw that at a defenseman. Right now, we only have 1 superstar defenseman, and I think that's the big reason that we're being let down a little bit. We're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round, and when I said we're changing things up, I really meant we're changing things up. So the face cam is back on for the postseason. season. We got swept in the first round last season. We're not going to allow that to happen again. It's time to lock in against the Toronto Maple Leafs. If it ever simulates what's going to happen in game 1, we're losing. We're losing game 2 as well. Okay, the face cam is not helping here, but then again, we got swept last season. In game number 3, can we win a game? Yes, we can. Let's win game number 4 as well. We are down 3-1 in the series. All right, we got to bring another superstar defenseman. Plain and simple, we have to upgrade our defensive core because right now, one elite defenseman is not good enough. We're scoring the first goal of the game, moving into the second. Cope's going to be picking up the hat trick. This man already has 3 goals in this game, but is it going to be enough? It might not be. If we lose this game after Cope picked up a hat trick, then we definitely need to upgrade the defense. Okay, he's just going to pick up his 4th goal of the game. So Cope had 4 goals in that one, and we only won 4-3. That is not giving me a lot of confidence moving into game number 6. Like, we need the rest of the offense to step up. We can't have just one man scoring all the goals here. We're moving into the first period. Is Cope going to be scoring once again? It doesn't look like it, but our entire offense is waking up. We're dominating this one 8-1. Okay, I think we might have a little bit of momentum now. We found a little bit of momentum and we've won back-to-back games. Can we make it 3 straight games and win game number 7? Well, it's definitely not going to be easy. There is a reason that we lost a couple games to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were playing better than us, but now we're playing better than them. Byron's picking up the first goal of the game, moving into the second period. Would you be surprised if Cope picked up another goal? Absolutely not, because this man is an absolute goal scorer. He's a gamer, and he's going to allow us to make this 3-1 series comeback, and we're off to the second round. So we made a 3-1 series comeback against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Hopefully a little bit of that momentum can translate into the second round. We have the Florida Panthers up next. If Montreal looks the way they did in those final 3 games, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop them. But apparently we're going to forget how to play hockey. Are we down 3-1 once again? It doesn't look like it. We've won 2 in a row. Can we make that 3 in a row? I guess we just don't show up early in the series. We're late series performers. We might drop the first 3 games, but we're going to start winning games after that. So we've made it to the conference finals. We got swept last year, and apparently we used that as momentum. After getting swept last season, we had a chip on our shoulder. We've been using that as motivation. We're dropping game number 1. We're dropping game 3 as well, but that's fine because we split the series. It's a best of 3 moving forward. Game 5 being the most important game. Can we steal that one away? We're losing at 3-2, so we have to make another late comeback. But instead of having to win 3 straight games, we only have to win 2 straight games, so Montreal is not too worried here. We're going to be exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, we're picking up 3 goals to their 2, so we have the lead entering the third, but I need some elite defense in the third period, and that's exactly what I'm getting. We're winning this one 4-3, and we're 1 game away from making it back to the Cup final. The Montreal Canadiens know exactly what they have to do in moments like this. This team knows how to win the most important games. So game 7 of the conference finals, I can't think of a more important game unless it's game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. Victor Ekland's going to pick up the first goal of the game. Moving into the second, we still haven't scored a goal. Can we please pick up a goal in the third period? That is tough. Okay, I was talking about how this team always steps up in the big time moments. When their backs are against the wall, they find a way to win. We got shut out. That is not the way I want to go out. Now, basically, there's only one more thing that can happen after losing to the Philadelphia Flyers. The Philadelphia Flyers win the Stanley Cup. So we lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions for the 10th time in this video. The crazy thing is, it actually might be the 10th time we've lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. I don't know how we always match up against the eventual Stanley Cup champs, but man, teams from the Eastern Conference have been dominating this video. I feel like 75% of our Stanley Cup winners have come from the Eastern Conference. The West better get back eventually because people are going to start calling the Western Conference a bunch of frauds. Ravensburg again, 11 wins, a 914 and 273. It just wasn't good enough. We couldn't score any goals in the most important game, and we're going to be falling in 2042. But just because we didn't win the Stanley Cup here doesn't mean we're not going to win one in the future. We still have 8 seasons ahead of us, and that's a lot of time to win another Stanley Cup. Now, we don't have a ton of picks to work with in the draft, but I found a gem. He has very inaccurate medium backup potential. Is this guy somehow going to have medium lead potential? Medium starter, but at least he's a gem, so he might turn into something. I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world. We'll just draft the medium lead potential gem a bit later in the draft. He's also a 47 overall. Now, you don't see stuff like this very often. Orr is actually interested in a contract extension, so we have to bring him back to the team. If you actually want to return to the Montreal Canadiens, we have to keep you around. So what are we going to be looking at? Hopefully 12.5 million. I think 12.5 is a great deal. Maybe that's a little bit low. How about we do $13 million for the next 3 seasons? So that's less than what you're getting paid right now. That's a great deal. When it comes to Joseph, he is 33 years old and only an 86 overall, so I don't think we're going to bring him back. And then when it comes to Elliott, we actually might trade him away. Because I'm thinking we should probably trade Elliott to get get a good defenseman, and I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, so this is what we're doing. Kaltinainen and Halpern are both going to be brought to the team. Kaltinainen is going to be a good defenseman, 85 overall. He has medium league potential. We're going to unlock that potential. And then Halpernen, you're going to play some top 6 minutes for me. You're likely going to be on the second line, and then I'm really hoping we can re-sign you on a reasonable deal. Re-signing you is going to be by far the most difficult part here, because I just highly doubt it's going to be happening. Because off the rip, you're not interested in signing an extension with the team, but how much are you looking at? 13 million. Okay, hold on. This actually might work here. We're going to do something incredibly reasonable. We'll do 10.8 for the next 6 seasons. Actually, I'll do 10.9. What if I up the trade protection a little bit more? Okay, we can save a bit more money. So we'll do 10.75 million for the next 6 seasons, 24 team trade protection. Although you're only an 85 overall, you're going to be one of the best players on this team at probably one of the best prices available. Now, Montreal, over these last couple seasons, I failed you. I didn't give you enough elite defensemen. Well, things are different now. We have 3 decent enough defensemen on this team. Yeah, we don't have a ton of superstars outside of Hunwick, but Kaltinainen, you can definitely be that guy. Oberg, you can hold it down the second pairing for me. And then when it comes to goaltending, Ravensburgen, it's going to be your final season with the team. You've dropped to an 86 overall, but I know you have one last cup in you. So we made some improvements to the defense, and because of that, we're back to second in the entire league. Montreal is now a top team once again, a 50, 25, and 7 record. You know what you have to do. Time and time again, this team has stepped up in the postseason. I just need them to do it a couple more times. Hutton, 63 goals, 51 assists for 114 points. Orr's picking up 100. Berglund's picking up 99. Cope's picking up 81. The offense is great. It's goaltending and defense I'm worried about. Ravensburgen isn't the player he used to be, but I know in the postseason he can perform well for us. So regardless of age, Ravensburgen, perform well in the postseason and we'll win a Stanley Cup. Like at the end of the day, that's really all it comes down to. Ravensburgen showing up for us. If he looks elite in the postseason, there's a 95% chance we win. The other 5% of the time is when the offense completely vanishes and they don't score any goals whatsoever. So after scoring 2 goals in game number 1, we're scoring 1 goal in game number 2. We split the first 2 games. We are not scoring goals at all. Luckily in game 3, we're going to wake up. 5 goals is going to be more than enough, but we split this series because we're allowing 6 in the next game. The offense has been kind of shaky so far. The defense has been shaky. Luckily, we do have a 3-2 series lead, so let's close down game number 6. I don't want to go to game 7, and we don't have to worry about it. So we're going to be moving on to the second round. Montreal is 4-2 to start the postseason, but now we have the Toronto Maple Leafs, the lone team that finished above the Montreal Canadiens in the standings. However, let's not act like these two teams are that different. Record-wise, they were very similar. I think it was only a 1-point difference. Are we going to sweep Toronto? It doesn't look like it. I thought we were going to take down the Toronto Maple Leafs in a sweep. Instead, we're just going to choke away a 3-0 series lead. So we won the first 3 games. Are we going to lose 3 straight games after that? Yes, we are. We're off to game 7. Great work, team. And I can't even say that our offense hasn't been that great. We've just been allowing way too many goals. So we're going to start game 7 off by exchanging goals in the first period. In the second, we're going to be picking up another 2, but I'm not too sure if that's going to be enough. A 3-1 lead is not enough for this team. Can we close it out in the third period? Yes, we can. We're off to the conference finals once again. So Montreal is taking down the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games. They put way too much pressure on us though. Like we had a 3-0 series lead and almost lost that series. That is absolutely ridiculous. The next team up is going to be the New York Rangers. We're winning the first 2 games. Are we sweeping the Rangers? We're not doing this again. We are not doing this again. We were up 3-0. Luckily, we're not going to have to worry about blowing a 3-0 series lead. We're closing out in game number 5 and we're back in the Stanley Cup final. So Montreal, you're going to be matched up against the Utah Mammoth once again. I believe the last time we saw this team in the Stanley Cup final, we were able to take them down. So Utah's going to have a chip on their shoulder, but Montreal knows what they have to do in order to win. So let's just take this one game at a time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's just make sure that we can win the important games. We're down 3-1. This is a terrible start. And if I'm being honest, it's been the defense. The defense is what's letting us down. We're allowing way too many goals. I'm going to need a crazy third period from this offense, and we're just not getting that. Cope's going to pick up the lone goal, and we're going to be falling to the Utah Mammoth in game 5 of the Stanley Cup final. The goaltending wasn't there, plain and simple. Like in game number 3, we allowed 5 goals. In game 4, we allowed 5 goals. In game 1, we allowed 6 goals. That is not good defense. Goaltending and defense let us down here. Yeah, the offense wasn't amazing, but it was mainly goaltending and defense. Because at the end of the day, 3 or 4 goals, that should win you a game. In this situation, that wouldn't have won you a game. We could have scored 4 goals and still ended up losing. Hutton, 29 points, 14 goals. Berglund, 15 goals, 26 points. Those 2 guys showed up for me. Cope, he had 6 goals, but for some reason, I feel like he always picks up the big time goals. But when the lights were the brightest and we needed guys to show up, it just didn't happen for us. And then when it comes to Ravensburgen, cut to the chase. You just played your final games with the team. 13 wins. You're down to an 83 overall, a 901 to 304. We're not going to forget about the bad times you had with this team. We're going to remember all the good times and the 2 Stanley Cups you won with us. Now in the 5th round, we found ourselves an elite prospect. Low elite potential, but he's beginning as a 66 overall, 18 years old. If this guy doesn't jump to the lineup, then he completely failed his development. Like, I'm sorry, but finding a 66 overall with low elite potential in the 5th round of all rounds, that doesn't happen very often. Also, I know I'm taking this guy like 200 picks early, but he's a gem. And I'm definitely not against drafting a gem. Okay, yes I am. He had medium 70 potential. What were the scouts cooking? Now, I think I might have found our future goaltender, Hakkarainen. I think this guy could be a stud for us. At $12.3 million, it is expensive, but he's an 89 overall at 25 years old. He's going to be a star. I'll agree to his player request, which is being our starting goaltender, and once we do that, we should be able to bring him to the team. So this is what we're looking at, 12.35 for the next 6 seasons, a full no movement. I told him he's going to be our starting goaltender. Once we bring Hakkarainen to the team, he's going to be a game changer for us. So Hakkarainen is going to be joining the team. He's going to be our franchise goaltender for a while, but we still need to bring in some more players. Now, I do want to point out, after all the deals we made, there are 2 extensions that have to be handed out. Berglund's going to be looking for one of them. He wants $19 million. Yeah, we could be in a little bit of trouble. This medium league potential player we traded for last season, he wants around 12. And you know what? Maybe we're going to be okay, because we'll be able to save quite a bit of money with this guy right here. We're going to be looking at $10 million for the next 4. That's going to leave us with around $21 million. And Berglund, we can bring you back then. However, I do want to save a little bit of money with you, so how about we do $18 million for the next 6 seasons, and I believe that actually keeps you around for the rest of the rebuild. Now I'm going to keep it a stack. The cap situation on this team has made it very difficult to build a well-balanced team. Like, when it comes to our bottom 6, we're not looking at a lot of superstars, but then you see this first line, and you're like, you know what, that's good enough. All we need is a first line here. We just need a decent defense, and we'll find a way to win Stanley Cups. However, we haven't won Stanley Cups in a handful of years, so maybe this isn't the method. But we do have Hakkarainen now. He's a 90 overall, the best goalie in the league. If he can step up in the postseason, he might be able to lead us to a couple of cups in these final years. Now, in Hakkarainen's first season with the team, he's doing some pretty special things. He's leading us to the President's Trophy, a 51, 18, and 13 record. But just look at that defense, 2.51. It's been a long time since our defense looked that elite. Hutton, 95 points. Orr's picking up 91. Berglund's going to be picking up 83. So we're going to have 3-point-a-game scores. And then Hakkarainen, 38 wins, 2 shots, a 919 to 246. You're looking absolutely spectacular right now, but I don't know what you can do in the postseason. Some goaltenders step up, others fold. Let's figure out what you are. So game number 1 is going to be a very important one, and we're going to win that one overtime. Game number 2 is just as important. I haven't really got a feel on Hakkarainen yet. He hasn't looked terrible so far. You know what? He's actually looked pretty good. Never mind. No, he hasn't. We split the series with Detroit. I don't really know how to feel about this man so far. He just allowed 6 goals. In game 2, he allowed 3 goals. He allowed 2 goals again in this one. So his goals against is probably sitting around a 280, 290, and that's not really ideal. However, it looks like he's going to be responding in game number 6. He heard all the noise, a 1 goal allowed performance. That's basically the standard I need moving forward. Moving forward, the maximum goals you can allow in a game is 2, and you're not even doing that in game number 1. You're going to be allowing 3. But you know, okay, yeah, this man cannot keep the puck out of the net. We are going to sweep Florida. But yeah, the numbers, very questionable to say the least. But at the end of the day, who really cares what the goals against and save percentage looks like? If you win the Stanley Cup, that is the only thing that matters. You can have an 850 and a 350, but if you hoist the Stanley Cup at the end of the season, that's all people are going to talk about. We're currently down 3-2 in the series, so we have to win game 6 and we have to win game 7. So Hakkarainen, I don't care what you've done up until this point, this is the time you step up. You're going to wake up right now. You allowed 2 goals in the first period. It was actually the first 2 goals of the game. Not ideal. Moving into the second, you're going to be allowing another goal, but we're picking up 2 ourselves. So we have to win the third period in order to win this game, and that's what we're going to do. So we're off to game 7 now. 3 goals allowed by Hakkarainen. Not really ideal. But as I mentioned before we got into game number 6, none of the other games matter. This is the only game that matters. We're exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, we're going to be taking over in this one. As long as we win the third, we're going to be winning this game. And is that going to happen? Yes, it is. We allowed 4 goals in this one. Hakkarainen is no superstar, but we are winning and we are in the Stanley Cup final. But if I'm being completely honest, I feel like this is just not sustainable. I feel like allowing 3 to 4 goals per game is just not sustainable if you want to win a Stanley Cup. Granted, we're in the Cup final for a reason. It must be working. So it comes down to this series right here. The Montreal Canadiens taking on another Canadian team in the Calgary Flames. We are down 3-1 in the series. Goaltending has officially caught up to us. Is it goaltending? Is it defense? I don't know what it is, but it hasn't been good. We're picking up 4 goals through the first 2 periods. We're winning the third period as well. Technically, we lost the third period, but we won the game, and that's all we really care about. Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying we won the third period, considering we allowed a goal. We're winning the game 4-2. Now we just have to win one more game. and then after we win this game, we have to win another one after that, but we are only focused about game 6. We can't focus on game 7 because there's no game 7 unless you win game number 6. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period. It's going to be a quiet second period. Win the third period to win the game. That's the motto for this team, and we're going to be winning it by not scoring any goals, but not allowing any goals. So Montreal has fought back from a 3-1 deficit. They're in game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. We've won a couple game 7s. We've lost a couple game 7s, but this one, we're going to be winning. So it all comes down to one final game between the Calgary Flames and Montreal Canadiens. Calgary's picking up 2 goals in the first period to our 1. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one. We know for a fact Hulk Ryan's going to be allowing a goal in the third period, but can we outscore the goals he allows? We're going to find out right here. He allowed 2 more goals. Okay, he allowed 4 in this one. They only took 18 shots. Yeah, bro was not keeping the puck out of the net. Plain and simple. Throughout that entire postseason, from game number 1 till game 24, I was getting bad vibes from Hulk Ryan the entire way. Offensively, we were looking pretty solid. It was goaltending. A 916 to 249. How on earth did you put up those numbers? Maybe I have to take back basically every bad thing I said about this man, because a 916 and a 249 are not bad numbers. I did not think you played that well. Maybe I'm just completely bugging. Maybe I was disrespecting our man. 4 goals allowed here, 1 goal allowed here. Okay, so not too bad. And then 2 goals allowed here, not too bad. Then he allowed 5, and then he allowed 1, allowed 2, allowed 3. So in the Stanley Cup final, he wasn't too bad. But I just feel like this guy was kind of all over the map. Like he allowed 4 goals in this one, 3 goals in this one, 3 goals in this one, only 2 goals in this one. Okay, maybe I was disrespecting our man a little bit too much. Maybe Hulk Ryan actually is an elite goaltender. I mean, I know he's an elite goaltender. He's the highest overall goalie in the league. But during the postseason, I just didn't think he was playing that great. You know what? I was focused on the losses more than I was focused on the wins, and I think that was the problem. Also, you realize what just happened in the Stanley Cup final? We lost to another eventual Stanley Cup champion. I mean, granted, if you're losing at the Stanley Cup final, obviously you're going to be losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champs. But in the first 3 years of this rebuild, we lost to the eventual Cup champs in the second round. So yeah, that was definitely no coincidence. Now the plan was, after losing in the Stanley Cup final, do some great drafting, bring in a couple mediumly potential players, but then flip those prospects for guys that can help us win now. Safe to say that plan did not work out. We went 0 for 7. Now we drafted Oberg a handful of years ago. We selected him 30th overall, and he's been a great defenseman for us. And you know what? He's going to continue to be a great defenseman, and he's going to do it at an amazing price. I'm giving him a no movement. I want him sticking around for the rest of this video. $7.5 million for the next 6 seasons. Oberg, you're going to finish your career as a Montreal Canadiens legend. Well, I got a little bit crazy with handing out contract extensions. We ran out of money for Oberg. He now does not want to sign a deal with the team. So yeah, we're going to lose him. He wants $10 million. We don't have $10 million. So all that stuff I said about you turning into a Montreal Canadiens legend, I take it all back. Now, though we haven't gotten a deal done with Oberg quite yet, I do think there is a possibility we bring him back in the future. Like, we're only short $3 million. We still have his RFA rights. So worst case Ontario, we just qualify him as an RFA next season and trade him away. But I don't think it's going to come to that. Hulk Ryan's up to a 91 overall, so he has solidified himself as the best goaltender in the NHL. I was questioning you last season, but based on those numbers I saw during the postseason, I'm never going to question you again. You're the guy. You're definitely the guy that can win us a Stanley Cup in these final 6 seasons. Now, Montreal was absolutely flying this season. A 56-20-6 record. We had the best offense. We had the best defense. So what does that mean? Well, that means we're going to win the Stanley Cup. Well, that doesn't technically mean we're going to win the Stanley Cup, but just look at this top line. Hutton, Orr, Berglund, these guys were lighting the lamp. Plus 70, plus 64, plus 70. You can't ask for a better first line than that. And then Hulk Ryan, you were looking amazing as well. 42 wins, 4 shots, a 913 to 247. But is that going to translate into the postseason? Of course it is. We saw it translate last season. Obviously, it's going to translate again. Like, I've low-key been disrespecting Hulk Ryan a little bit too much. He's been elite in the 2 regular seasons. In the 1 postseason we've seen him in so far, he was absolutely elite. And he's going to be elite in this one. A shutout in game number 1. Then he allows 5 goals in game number 2. You know what? I'm not going to question this, man. I know he's going to find a way to win us all the important games. Is that going to happen in game number 4? Of course it is. Now we just have to win game number 5 and game number 6 and move on to the second round. Well, we've won game 5, now win game number 6, and that's exactly what he's doing. So we're moving on to the second round after a 6-game series in round number 1, and now we have the Florida Panthers. Florida has just stuck around this entire video. Like, they don't have any of the key guys from the beginning seasons, but they have always found a way to roster an incredible team. I don't know what it is. We're down 3-1. That is not what we're looking for. When we reach the final 10 years, I was talking about bringing home 5 more Stanley Cups. That is certainly not going to be happening unless we find a way to beat the Florida Panthers right here, and that's what we're going to be doing. So we're keeping our Stanley Cup hopes alive, but we better continue to play like this. Like, not only do I need the offense flying, but I need our defense flying, and then I need goaltending to be absolutely elite, and I know we can get elite goaltending. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period. Florida's going to be responding in the second. The third period is going to decide this one, or maybe even overtime. Well, it looks like it's going to be the third period, because we're going to be picking up 4 straight goals. So we're off to game 7. We were down 3-1 the series, but we're making the comeback. Now it all comes down to game 7. The 6 games before this, they don't matter anymore. This is the only one that matters. We're picking up the first 2 goals of the game. We're picking up another goal in the second period. Can we win the third period? Well, we're not winning the third period, but we're going to win the game. They outscored us 2-1, but we had a big enough lead where we're going to be stealing this series away. So we made the 3-1 series comeback, but the job's still not done. We've only won 8 of the 16 games that we have to win. So how about we sweep the Carolina Hurricanes and then sweep whoever we see in the Stanley Cup final? Montreal's got a little bit of momentum, and they're going to build on that momentum. Is it going to be a sweep? Not quite. But you know what? We're not going to blow a 3-0 series lead. We're going to close this one out with a shutout, and we're back in the Stanley Cup final. Now the real question is, in the Stanley Cup final, who are we going to be taking on? The Utah Mammoth. Utah and Calgary have been dominating the Western Conference, but Montreal's been dominating the East. So we're about to figure out who is the best team in the NHL. The best team is going to be decided by this 4-game series right here. Who's going to be taking home the Stanley Cup when it matters most? What happened in game number 1? We won game 1. So that means we're going to have a 3-1 series lead, but can we close it out? At one point, we had a 3-0 series lead. I just want to point that out. We were up 3-0. Now we're in game 7. So after being up 3-0, we're in game 7. This was a ridiculous collapse. But you know what? It's only a collapse if you lose game 7. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period to their 1. In the second, once again, it's 2 goals to their 1. Can we win the third period? That's all that matters. Well, we're going to win, because Zarkov is going to pick up a goal with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. The Montreal Canadiens are hoisting another Stanley Cup. That's got to be at least our 7th Stanley Cup of the video. The Montreal Canadiens, once again in 2045, are going to be taking home a Stanley Cup. And who is it thanks to? Well, obviously, one man's got to take a lot of the credit. Hulk Rainen, 16 wins, 2 shouts, a 915 to 255. When the lights were the brightest, he found a way to win. But just look at the scoring. It's not just one guy carrying the way. Berglund was amazing, don't get me wrong, but Hutton was also great. 13 goals, 12 assists for 25 points. Orr's picking up 22. Cope, 21 points, but he had 10 goals and 11 assists. We just had great depth scoring from the entire lineup. It doesn't matter who's on the ice, everyone's going to find a way to produce, and they're all going to find a way to help the team. So after winning a Stanley Cup, Oberg, have you changed your mind? Do you want to return to the team for $16 million? Good one. So yeah, that's not going to happen. Oberg, unfortunately, is going to have to be traded away. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Oberg, if I'm not going to be able to bring you back to the team, how about we just bring in the 2nd overall pick, which is Marcus Sedin. In 3 years' time, we'll have enough money for him. We'll be able to bring him back to the team. They're rejecting this offer right here. I'll throw in our 1st round pick, which is the 32nd overall. This is going to be more than enough. They're really saying no to that. You need the 224th overall as well. If you didn't get the 224th overall pick, you would have said no. No, that's a bit wild. Now, things are looking really good for the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to be drafting Roenick, 57 overall, medium league potential. He's 20 years old already, so this guy's not going to have a lot of time to develop, so we're 1,000% going to trade him away. The real question is, are we walking away with 2 medium league potential players, though? Because I think we might have just got another one, and it looks like we did. So we got another medium league potential player, 2 in this draft. Yeah, we're definitely going to trade these guys for guys who can help us win now. All right, so let's see what kind of trades I can cook up. Roenick and 2 second rounders are going to be sent over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maier's going to be brought in, medium league potential, signed for the next 5 years at $7.2 million. Now, he's only an 83 overall right now, but he has medium league potential, and we're going to unlock that potential. Now, this deal might not make a lot of sense, but you just have to trust me. Sedin, I'm actually going to trade you away, because I'm going to send you over to the Dallas Stars so we can get this medium league potential player. He was actually drafted 2 picks later after you. With the trade that we just made, picking up Maier, we don't need another left defenseman. We actually need a right defenseman, and that's what this guy from the Dallas Stars is, so we're just going to go 1 for 1. But the biggest deal we're going to be making over the offseason, we have to use Trade Finder for, because I don't know what happened to Bro. But yeah, 82 overall, we're paying him an absolute bag. No team wants him. we're going to find out how to trade him. Like, I have no clue what happened to bro. Like, we're paying him 10.7 million. He completely fell off. Basically, I'm just going to give you him for absolutely nothing. We're just going to swap 7th round picks. I just want to get his contract off the books. They're saying no to that. I'll give you a 6th round pick as well. If we can get this contract off the books, we're going to be in an amazing spot, and Boston's going to be taking it on. So here's the deal we're making. We're throwing a lot in this deal. The medium league potential player that we drafted and 2 first-round picks from Macias. Macias is going to be a superstar because we're about to lock him down for the rest of this video. So here's the deal I'm looking at with Macias. We have to do at the very minimum 5 seasons, but we actually might do 6 years with him. Now, the reason I'm thinking about doing 6 years is if we do 6 years, I can give him no movement, and that gets his contract interest up quite a bit. So I think what we're going to do is 12.1 million for 6 seasons. That's basically the max I can give him, and I'm just going to pray that he accepts that deal. And then when it comes to Hunwick and Orr, I mean, we're probably going to lose one of these guys, and I think it's going to be Orr. Because Hunwick, I'm going to be able to bring you back to the team. I can't see you being here for the rest of this video, but there is a possibility. Once we get to the final seasons, you're definitely going to be an older player, and you're not going to be the guy you used to be, but you're a 95 overall right now. So here's 13.7 million for the next 4. Hopefully we can get something done. Now, normally I wouldn't be too worried after finishing 5th in the entire league. However, we were cold down the stretch. In the final 20 games of the season, the Montreal Canadiens really weren't looking that good, because at one point we were like 25-3. So considering what we did after that start, the team has me a little bit concerned right now. Of course, the big time performers are performing, no surprises there. When it comes to goaltending, yeah, he's picking up 9 shutouts. This guy might be the greatest goaltender of all time, because he has been an absolute dog since we brought him to the team. I questioned him in the first postseason, but you know what? He put up elite numbers. And then in the second postseason, he just won us a Stanley Cup. So how about in postseason number 3, you go back-to-back with the team? Hulka Rynan, you have been an absolute superstar for me. And how about you continue to be a superstar where you're going to help us win the first 2 games, but that's been more offense. We scored 11 goals in the first 2 games. If the offense continues to score like that, there's going to be no team that can stop us, but it kind of slowed up in game number 3. Luckily, we do have a 3-1 series lead, so we're just going to close this one out in game number 5, and we'll be moving on to the second round. Montreal doesn't like to mess around. So the first series was a great success. Now we're taking on the Boston Bruins. It's a good old rivalry matchup between Montreal and Boston. We're shutting them out in game number 1. We're dropping game 2, though. I need to win game number 3, and that's exactly what we're doing. Now win me game number 4. We're taking a 3-1 series lead, and we're 1 game away from making it back to the conference finals, and now we're in the conference finals. So the Washington Capitals are the lone Eastern Conference team that stand between us and the Stanley Cup final, and now they don't stand between us. Okay, they might have won game number 4, but we'll just win game number 5. We're in the Stanley Cup final, and we're 12-3. The offense has been on a different level, and who could have seen this coming? The Utah Mammoth. The Utah Mammoth are back in the Stanley Cup final once again, but so are the Montreal Canadiens. And one thing the Montreal Canadiens know how to do in the Stanley Cup final is win games. We're down 3-1. That aged poorly. Yeah, so after dominating every round up until this point, we're trailing 3-1, but there's a lot of big time performers on this team, and I'm going to need these guys to step up, especially in the third period, because the third period is going to decide this one. We did not step up. Utah's taking us down. So how about we just turn the face cam off and pretend this didn't happen? I think that's a great plan. Nah, but seriously, what just happened to the boys? We were absolutely dominating. Not a single person could stop us. And then the Stanley Cup final happened. Everything crashed. The offense disappeared, the goaltending disappeared, the defense disappeared, everything disappeared in the Stanley Cup final. There is not just one player I can point the finger at. We have to point it at the entire team. Everyone let us down when the lights were the brightest. It's not just one guy. Now, the draft's not going to be looking too spectacular. If this guy turns out to have low league potential, that's going to be the best prospect we're walking away with. And yeah, low top 9, we definitely got let down with that selection. The scouts were not cooking. Then again, it was inaccurate scouting. What did we really expect? All right, now I think somebody retired on us. I might be completely wrong, but we have a lot of cap space, being 17 million. That means somebody must have left the team. The only thing is, I actually don't know who left the team. Because just taking a quick look at our roster, nobody's jumping out at me. We lost somebody. I don't know who it is, but somebody retired. Because there's no way we should have 17 million. Yeah, I'm going to keep it a $1.50. I couldn't tell you who retired. We just have $17 million in cap space. Maybe we had $17 million all along. I have no clue. Riley Orr, we actually will have enough money to bring you back to the team. There was a period of time where I thought Riley Orr was not going to be returning. I take it all back now. We're going to do 11.8 for the next 2 years. I'll give him a full no movement so we can save a lot of money. Riley Orr, welcome back. We need you on this team. You're the heart and soul of the franchise. You were the Nick Suzuki replacement. I can't let you walk like that. Now, we might be able to do something. Jimmy Cope is interested in signing an extension. He has medium franchise potential now. Jimmy Cope's returning 1000%. I will even pay him a little bit more just to make sure of it. Like, we could probably do $13 million, but we've ran into problems in the past. So how about I do 13.7 for the next 7 years? Jimmy Cope, welcome back. Now, there's 4 years left in the rebuild. When looking at a handful of players such as Hutton and Berglund, I don't know if these guys are going to make it to the end of the video. Like, Hutton's 34 years old. Is he going to be playing until he's 38? I'm not too sure. Granted, we do have him under contract for 2 more years at $19.9 million. So he's going to be sticking around for the next 2 years for sure. After that, I guess we'll see what happens with him. When it comes to the defense, that's actually looking pretty solid right now. And then goaltending, we already know what we got here. We have 2 elite goaltenders. This team's going to try to make another deep run, but we're not going to fold in the Stanley Cup final this time, or at least I'm hoping we don't. Now, I just want to point out, I was questioning some of the older vets on our team. I was questioning whether or not these guys could still step up in the big time moments. The answer is yes. Hutton, 59 goals, 50 assists, 109 points. Berglund, 38 goals, 69 assists, 107 points. They were flying this season. And then Hakkarainen, 52 wins, 5 shots, a 916, a 239. They were amazing during the regular season, but can they be amazing once again during the postseason? I don't see why not. Now, I know I'm about to jinx the Montreal Canadiens with this comment right here, but this might be the first time in a very long time when I've done a rebuild, we've actually seen a fair amount of postseason success. Like, we've only lost in the first round maybe 3 times. 3 times over the course of 20 years, I'll definitely take that. There wasn't that many second round exits. We were looking at a lot of conference finals appearances, a lot of Stanley Cup final appearances. This team was finding ways to win, and we're going to continue to win in the postseason. We're taking down the Philadelphia Flyers in 5 games. Now we're moving on to the second round to match up against the Florida Panthers. We've seen Florida a lot in this video, but we know how to beat them because we've done it before. We're winning the first 2 games. Can we win the first 3 games? Can we sweep Florida? We're moving on. We're 8-1 so far in the postseason. As I said earlier, Montreal's not ready to lose anytime soon. So how about we just keep on rolling? We have the New Jersey Devils up next. New Jersey's going to be looking to stop us, but I'm not going to allow them to stop us. We won game 2 and we won game 3, but we're dropping game 1 and game 4, so it's a best of 3 moving forward. This is a must-win game for us, and we're dropping it in overtime. You don't want to see that. In 2047, you don't want to be dropping games in the conference finals, and you definitely don't want to be trailing 3-2 in the series. After a scoreless first period, we're moving into the second. New Jersey's picking up 2 goals to our 1. We have to find the back of the net. I need the star players to show up for me, and that's what they're doing. But it's Donovan, not a star player, but Donovan, one of our bottom 6 players. Now, who's going to show up when it matters in overtime? Well, that's going to be Cope. So Cope's going to be stealing us this one, but Donovan's really the MVP. Now, I guess I shouldn't get too excited here because all we did was win game number 6. Now we have to win game 7. If we don't win game 7, the game 6 victory means absolutely nothing. So here we go. The winner of this matchup is off to the Stanley Cup final. We're allowing 3 goals in the first period. What are we doing? I need the defense to wake up, and the defense clearly isn't waking up. A late push is not going to be enough, and it looks like we're going to be falling in game 7 of the conference finals. It was another deep run, but it just wasn't good enough. What an absolute shocker. The eventual Stanley Cup champs are the guys beating us. I mean, to be fair, if you're losing in the conference finals, it's not really that much of a surprise. Like, it's literally a 50-50 shot. However, it still is pretty funny that we've basically only been losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champs. The offense wasn't quite as good during the postseason. When it comes to goaltending, Hakkarainen literally did his thing like usual. Like, Hakkarainen, I don't think has ever let me down in the playoffs. He's consistently been that guy. Now, with us entering the final 3 years, I'm going to keep it a stack. I am not too worried about the prospects we're drafting right now. Even if we were to draft a mediumly potential prospect, he's not even going to develop in time to help us. So there's a couple guys that I want to bring back to the team. However, I'm not sure if we're going to have enough money for all of them. Hutton, you've been an absolute superstar for me, and you're currently getting paid $19 million. How about we do significantly less than that, but I give you a no movement? Now, when I say significantly less, I don't mean $12 million. That's a bit OD. But I think if we did $14 million for the next 2, you'd be willing to accept that. So that's what I'm going to offer you. So we're going to say $5 million with you. With some of that money, we're going to throw it to this mediumly potential player right here. We're going to lock him down for around $7.5 million. If I did a 5-year deal, can we add a clause? It doesn't look like it. If we did 6 years, we can add a clause. So I'll throw a no movement at you. That improves your contract interest quite a bit. So we're probably going to be looking at 8.2 for the next 6. I mean, I guess it is cheaper if we just do it like this. We'll end up doing 7.9 if we don't do the extra 2 years with the no movement. So we're going to end up doing this deal instead. Riley Orr, I'm just going to write out your contract. You're not going to be returning to the team. And then with this final defenseman, he wants 18 million. We can do less than that. So how about we do 16.9 million for the next 6 seasons? That's going to keep these 3 players around for the final seasons. And then when it comes to goaltending, we still have our man locked down. So here we go. We have 3 more seasons left with the Montreal Canadiens. Berglund's 33, Hutton's 35, Orr is like 37 or something. Yeah, these guys are not the players they used to be. However, we have to ride this out with them. These are the guys that have built this Montreal Canadiens team up. These are the guys who have been here since day number like 15. Because yeah, we had like 15 seasons before these guys got here. But even still, they have been here for a long time. They are the faces of this franchise. And I want to make sure it stays that way. Like, I can't imagine Hutton playing for a different team, Berglund playing for a different team. It just wouldn't be right. No, I think it's about time we go back to All Reliable. We haven't won a Stanley Cup in a while, so it's time to bring out All Reliable in order to win one again. So we're going to simulate the entire first round. We're going right to game number 7. We haven't looked at the standings. We haven't looked at the stats. The face cam's off, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, we are down in the series. That is not ideal. We need to win game 4. We're winning game 4. That's a good sign. Can we win game number 5? That's a must win for us. We're going to be winning that one. Now win game number 6. What are we doing? We lost in the first round. We just lost in the first round. Nothing to say. Nope, we're just moving on. We are moving on. I can't believe that just happened. A 59-16-7 record. We were the best team in the entire league. We won the President's Trophy, and we just lost in 7 games to the 42-31-9 Philadelphia Flyers. No, that did not just happen. Hutton's dropped in overall. He's now down to an 85. He had 91 points. This team's just not going to be the same. Orr's not going to be coming back to the team. He might be retiring. We're going to lose a lot of elite players. Halkarainen, you had great numbers. I can't disrespect anything you've done for this team. When it came to the postseason, I don't know what went wrong. Apparently everything went wrong. I can't believe we just wasted one of our final seasons losing in the first round after winning 59 games. Now I just want to give a shout out to Barron, low elite potential, Aaron Barron. Welcome to the Montreal Canadiens organization. You'll probably never play a game with us. I can actually guarantee you, you will never play a game for us. We only have 2 seasons left. Unless you have some of the craziest development of all time, you're probably not going to be joining. Can we get a medium elite potential gem here in the second round? No, we can't. Medium start potential, 70 overall. It's not terrible, but his trade value is not going to be as high as somebody who had medium elite potential. Now, Riley Orr has dropped to an 83 overall. He is not the player he used to be. However, I think he had some really good numbers last season. I just want to take a quick look at those. 15 goals, 57 assists, 72 points. We're going to give you the Cole Caulfield treatment. Now, what is the Cole Caulfield treatment? Well, I'm going to bring you in for like $6 million, and you're just going to put up 70 points. Because that's what Cole Caulfield did. We brought him in for $1.8 million, and bro was somehow super elite still. So yeah, Riley Orr here is $7.2 million for 1 season. Let's see what you can cook up. Also, I guess it wouldn't hurt if we gave Para $3.1 million for the next 2 years, because there is a chance that after next season, he might be the starter. Because when it comes to Halkarainen, I don't think we have him under contract after this season, and it doesn't look like it, and I just don't think we're going to have enough money to bring him back. But I guess we're going to find out in a couple seconds. Now, Halkarainen, I actually think we might have enough money for you. We have $19 million in cap space, so we will bring you back to this team. I'll throw an absolute bag at you. Okay, maybe $14 million is a little bit low. We might be giving you $15 million. I'm actually just going to give you exactly what you're looking for. And then, of course, I'll have a quick negotiation with you, and I'll just confirm that you're going to be our starting goaltender. So here's what we're going to do with him. $15.3 million for the next 6 seasons. We have our starting goaltender back for 2 more years. Well, I guess it's technically 6 more years because I gave him a 6-year extension, but we only have this upcoming season and next season. Now we have a handful of guys at the end of their careers. Berglund, Orr, Hutton, you guys have been cornerstones for the Montreal Canadiens for a long time, and all 3 of you guys have won a handful of Stanley Cups for this franchise. However, there's 2 more years left, so you know what that means? 2 more Stanley Cups. If we've been able to do it with these guys before, I know for a fact we can do it again. I don't care what their overalls are. They're going to find a way to succeed even if they're not the players they used to be. Now, last season we tried to get a little bit fancy. We didn't look at the standings. We didn't look at the stats. We tried to jump right into the postseason, and that didn't work out for us. When it comes to the standings, we're second in the entire league. When it comes to stats, as you can see, we were scoring goals this season. We were also keeping the puck out of our net, but not as good as usual. Hulk and Ryan, the numbers definitely fell off a little bit here, but you know where they don't fall off? The postseason. You step up for me time and time again. Let's get at least one Stanley Cup in these final 2 seasons. In reality though, one Stanley Cup is certainly not enough. We need to bring home back-to-back Stanley Cups in the final 2 years. Montreal has won a handful of cups in this video, but I don't think they've won enough Stanley Cups. We're winning game number 1, we're going to win game 2 as well, and what has been elite through the first 2 games? Well, our offense has been elite and our defense has been elite, and our defense was even better. In game number 3, it's a shutout for the Montreal Canadiens. We swept the Islanders. We didn't sweep a lot of teams in this video, but if we're going to start sweeping teams now, I wouldn't be against it. Also, shout out to my camera for finally dying. It's dying in the final 2 seasons. Granted, that should not surprise me. That thing has been running for a long time now. I actually don't think it died on me. I think it just overheated. Or maybe the battery overheated. I don't really know what happened. More than likely the battery overheated. I'm not too worried about that. We're 8-1 so far in the postseason. If my camera has to die in order for us to win a Stanley Cup, well, you know what? That's just the way she goes. We have the Pittsburgh Penguins up next. They were the lone team ahead of us in the standings, but I'm not scared of Pittsburgh because Montreal is rolling right now. The offense is amazing. The defense is amazing. We're 11-2 so far in the playoffs. Make that 12-2, and we're just waiting to figure out who we're going to be taking on the Cup final, and it looks like it's going to be the Chicago Blackhawks. So here we go, the Chicago Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup final. It's Montreal versus Chicago. We're going to be splitting the series through the first 4, so it's a best of 3 moving forward. Who can win game number 5? Well, we're going to be dropping it. We have lost a lot of game 5s in this video, but you know what we've done? We've won a lot of game 6s, and we've won a lot of game 7s, so we're going to do that again. We're picking up the first 2 goals of the game. Moving into the second, we're just going to keep on scoring here. We're going to be taking this one 6-1, and now we have game 7 for the Stanley Cup. I feel like we've been 50-50 in game 7s for the Stanley Cup. We've won 50% of them, we've lost 50% of them. However, in this game right here, we don't plan on losing. We're 15-5 so far in the postseason. Why would we start losing now? We're picking up a 5-on-5 goal, a power play goal, and a shorthanded goal in the first period. In the second period, we're picking up another 2 goals. We're 20 minutes away from another Stanley Cup. That did not just happen. Y'all did not just allow 3 straight goals in the third period. Win game 7. Win me overtime right now. Thankfully, we're going to be winning it on a shorthanded goal. Nah, y'all made that way too difficult. You made that way more difficult than it had to be. We should have easily won that game without having to go to overtime. But you know what? A win is a win is a win is a win. The Montreal Canadiens are taking home another Stanley Cup. The real question is, Hutton, do you have one more good year in you? I believe both of those guys have at least one more good season. Orr's picking up 21 points. Hutton's picking up 20 points. Clearly, these guys can still play in the NHL based on those numbers. Ryan, you were incredible. A 932 and a 204, 3 shutouts, 16 wins. Let's run it back. Run it back for one more. I don't want to play the final season without those key players. Now, we have some amazing news. Neither of those players are going to be retiring. Orr's not retiring on me. Hutton's not retiring on me. We'll find money to bring them back to the team. I don't know how we're going to be able to do it, but we will find the money. I mean, in reality, how much money could Orr possibly be looking for? He is an 83 overall. He can't be asking for too much. He wants 7.8 million. We'll get that down because I'll give him a no movement. So with this no movement with Orr, here is 6.6 million for the final 2 seasons. You're going to be returning, and we're going to go win one more cup. So I guess the salary cap jumped up $16 million, so we have a ridiculous amount of money. So I guess I can bring this RFA back. I'll give him 5.1 million. I mean, you're not worth 5.1 million, but considering how much money we have, I guess I can give it to you. And then Nichols, here's 3.7 million. Yeah, we'll bring both of those guys back because we have a ridiculous amount of money for no reason. Unless one of the reasons that we have all that money is one of our elite defensemen retired on us. Now, I can't believe this happened. Hunwick retired on me. We're not going to have Hunwick for the final season. Nah, you can't do that to me. You can't win a Stanley Cup and then retire on me. Hunwick, you were supposed to be here for the final season. Why did you do that? Now, with us losing Hunwick, we do have to bring in a replacement, and I guess this guy's like basically the best option. He's only an 84 overall. Yeah, he's literally just the best defenseman free agent we can get. Now here we go, season 25 with the Montreal Canadiens. We've really made it here. It's been a long video, I know for a fact because I've been editing it as I've been recording. We're well over 2 hours, we're probably just short of 3 hours. But you know what, with it being a longer 25-year rebuild, that's actually probably a good sign because that means we're having longer postseason runs, meaning we're likely seeing more postseason success, and that's definitely been happening. So Montreal, with it being year number 25, let's go cap it off with one final Stanley Cup. So here we go, the last dance with the Montreal Canadiens, a 53-20-9 record, 3.35 goals per game, 2.71 allowed. As you can see, the offense took a step back, and that shouldn't be a surprise. Hutton only picked up 68 points this season, he led the way. He's an 81 overall now, he's just not the same player he used to be. Riley Orr, he's an 82 overall, he had 60 points, he's not the player he used to be. A lot of these guys got up there in age, they've aged out on us. I can't put any blame on them. But you know what? Whether or not they're in their prime or not doesn't matter because all of these guys have found a way to step up in the postseason. They know what it takes to win in the playoffs. So win one more. Before we finish this video off, I want to see the Montreal Canadiens walk away with one more Stanley Cup. In the year 2050, we have to win one more. We're dropping game number 1, so we're not off to the greatest start. We're now dropping game number 2. Has the old core just aged out on us? Are they not the players that they used to be anymore? I mean, we know for a fact they're not the players they used to be. We're splitting the series after dropping the first 2 games, so game number 5 is going to be the most important. Can we steal this one away from the Pittsburgh Penguins? Or are we going to be trailing? Well, we're trailing entering game number 6. It all comes down to this game right here. The entire rebuild rests on this one game right here. Can the Montreal Canadiens win one more Stanley Cup, or are all the old boys going to go out with a first round exit? I don't think we can let that happen, and they won't let that happen. 7 goals in game number 6. They don't want to go out to the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round. If they're going to lose, they're losing in the Cup final. The thing is, Montreal's older players, they don't plan to lose here. Riley Orr, he doesn't plan to lose here. Hutton, he doesn't plan to lose here. None of those guys are planning to lose here. And with a 2-1 lead entering the third period, that might be enough for them to close this one out. Betts would be picking up a power play goal, but Berglund, another one of the older veterans on this team, he's going to step up and he's going to allow this team to advance to the second round. So when you thought the Montreal Canadiens were down and out, when you thought they couldn't compete with the best anymore, after dropping the first 2 games, they're going to be responding. They won 4 of the next 5 games, and they're looking to bring that motion into the second round. They're winning the first 2 games. Can they make that the first 3? Yes, they can. Can they sweep Tampa Bay? Not only are they sweeping Tampa Bay, it's back-to-back shows for the Montreal Canadiens. They're back in the conference finals. They've seen a lot of success in the conference finals, but they want the Stanley Cup. They want to bring home the Stanley Cup, so they're going to get past the New Jersey Devils. Well, that's how we're ending the video. It's going to end just like that. We're getting swept in the conference finals to the New Jersey Devils. That is a heartbreaking finish. Hutton 14 points, Cope 14 points, Orr's only picking up 9 points. It's the end of an era. It's the end of the 25-year rebuild with the Montreal Canadiens. It's ending just like that. But of course, there is one final thing we have to do. We have to look at the record book. So this is what we're looking at. When it comes to seasons played, Jean Beliveau, he's going to be the all-time leader with 20. But Hutton, I think, just finished his 20th season, so he's going to be tied with Beliveau. He played 1,558 games. That's going to be most all-time. 905 goals is going to be most all-time. When it comes to assists, Nick Suzuki's going to lead. He's picking up 1,016. But when it comes to points, that's going to be Hutton once again. 1,734. Bro is an absolute dog. When it comes to all-time wins, we're looking at Montebold, 461. Those were some of the players that we saw in today's video, but let's take a look at the entire NHL. Anze Kopitar, 1,942 games played. He's going to be tied right up there with Sidney Crosby. Sergei Bobrovsky's going to lead all goaltenders in games played, 1,860. Bro played till he was about 55. Austin Matthews is going to be at the top in all-time goals with 1,122, but who's going to be in 5th place? Well, that's going to be Hutton with the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, Wayne Gretzky's going to be at the top in all-time points. He's going to be at the top in all-time assists. Marty Brodeur is still going to be at the top in wins, but don't sleep on my man Ravensburgen. He's going to be finishing 4th all-time in wins. When it comes to shutouts, Marty Brodeur is picking up 125. We're not going to see any of our players there. 50-goal seasons, we're not going to see any of our elite players. And even when it comes to 100-point seasons, we're not going to see any of our guys. So the Montreal Canadiens saw an incredible amount of success over the past 25 years. I believe I was able to win like 7 or 8 Stanley Cups Cups, and over the course of a 25-year period, I don't think anyone would complain about 7 or 8 Stanley Cups. I know you guys have been asking for this video for a long time, but I didn't want to give you some 5 or 10 year rebuild. We had to sit down for the full 25 years, and that's what we just completed.